Hey, curious minds, get ready for mind-blowing facts about animals, science, and more. From surprising talents to bizarre discoveries, this video is packed with fun you won't believe. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the unexpected. The idea that cows can walk upstairs but cannot walk back down is a widely circulated myth, but it does have some basis in truth. Cows are physically capable of going downstairs, but their anatomy and instincts make it very difficult and potentially dangerous for them. Cows have large, heavy bodies and relatively short, stiff legs. Their knees and hocks are not as flexible as those of animals adapted for climbing or descending, making steep downward movement awkward and uncomfortable. Additionally, cows have poor depth perception, meaning they struggle to judge distances when looking downward. This makes navigating stairs especially intimidating for them, as they may not be able to see where each step begins and ends. As a result, cows will often resist going downstairs, even if they were coaxed up them in the first place. While cows can technically go downstairs with enough encouragement, or if the steps are shallow and wide enough, it's generally not recommended. Forcing a cow down steep stairs could cause injury, as they might panic, slip, or lose balance. Farmers and veterinarians typically avoid putting cows in situations where they have to descend stairs for this reason. Instead, cows are kept in environments designed for their natural movement, such as gentle slopes or ramps rather than stairs. So while it's not entirely true that cows cannot walk downstairs, it's certainly a challenge for them, and they will avoid it whenever possible.
Flamingos are not naturally pink. They are actually born with greyish-white feathers. Their famous pink or reddish colour develops over time due to their diet, which consists mainly of algae, brine shrimp, and other small crustaceans rich in carotenoid pigments. These pigments, particularly beta-carotene, are the same compounds found in carrots and other colourful fruits and vegetables. When flamingos digest these pigments, their bodies metabolize them and deposit the colour into their feathers, skin, and even their beaks. The more carotenoid-rich food a flamingo eats, the more vibrant its pink coloration becomes. This is why flamingos in different regions can vary in shade, from pale pink to deep red or orange, depending on their specific diet. Flamingos kept in captivity, such as those in zoos, often receive a special diet that includes carotenoid supplements to maintain their distinctive pink appearance. Without these pigments, they would eventually fade back to a duller whitish-grey color. Interestingly, the brightness of a flamingo's feathers can also indicate its overall health and vitality. In the wild, flamingos with deeper pink hues are often more attractive to potential mates, as their coloration signals a strong ability to find and consume high-quality food. This means that their signature pink is not just for show, it plays an important role in their social and reproductive success. So while we commonly associate flamingos with their striking pink color, their natural state is actually much more muted until their diet transforms them into the vibrant birds we recognize today.
Some species of male penguins, particularly Adelie and Gen 2 penguins, have a unique and adorable way of courting their mates. They offer a carefully selected pebble as a proposal gift. In the harsh, icy environments where these penguins live, pebbles are highly valuable because they are essential for building nests. Since these birds often nest on rocky or coastal terrain, finding the perfect pebble is no easy task, and males must search diligently to impress a potential mate. When a male penguin finds a smooth, well-shaped pebble, he presents it to the female as a sign of his affection. If she accepts the gift, she places it in her nest, signaling that she is interested in forming a bond with him. This exchange marks the beginning of their courtship, and the pair may continue to collect more pebbles together, strengthening their bond as they prepare for nesting. The nest itself is crucial for protecting the eggs from cold, wind, and predators, making the pebble exchange more than just a romantic gesture. It's also a sign of a male's ability to provide a safe and stable environment for future offspring. In some cases, if pebbles are scarce, a less scrupulous penguin may even attempt to steal from another nest, showing just how valuable these tiny stones can be. This charming behavior highlights the importance of mate selection and cooperation in penguin colonies. It also reinforces strong pair bonds, as many penguin species are known to be monogamous for a breeding season or even for life. So while it may seem like a small and simple gesture, the act of gifting a pebble is actually a crucial part of penguin courtship and survival.
Flamingos are not naturally pink. They are actually born with greyish-white feathers. Their famous pink or reddish colour develops over time due to their diet, which consists mainly of algae, brine shrimp, and other small crustaceans rich in carotenoid pigments. When flamingos digest these pigments, their bodies metabolize them and deposit the colour into their feathers, skin, and even their beaks. The more
Snails have an incredible ability to sleep for extended periods, sometimes up to 3 years. This unusual behavior is primarily due to their ability to enter a state called estivation or hibernation, depending on the climate they live in. In particularly dry or harsh conditions, such as extreme heat or drought, snails enter estivation to conserve moisture and survive when food and water are scarce. They retreat into their shells, seal themselves inside with a layer of mucus, called an epiphragm, and drastically slow their metabolism. This helps them avoid dehydration and stay protected until the environment becomes more favorable. On the other hand, snails that live in colder regions may enter hibernation during winter, similarly sealing themselves off to survive freezing temperatures. While the idea of a snail sleeping for 3 years may sound unbelievable, this is not continuous sleep in the way humans experience it. Instead, it is an extended period of dormancy where the snail's body functions at an extremely low level, almost like being in a deep sleep. Once conditions improve, such as when it rains or temperatures rise, the snail wakes up, rehydrates, and resumes its normal activity. This survival strategy has helped snails thrive in various environments around the world, from deserts to forests. It also explains why they can suddenly appear in large numbers after rain. They were likely dormant, waiting for the right conditions to become active again. So while most snails don't need to sleep for years under normal circumstances, they have an impressive ability to do so when nature demands it.
Koalas have fingerprints that are so strikingly similar to those of humans that even forensic experts could have difficulty distinguishing between them. This fascinating trait is unique among marsupials and is shared only with primates, making koalas an evolutionary anomaly in the animal kingdom. Like humans, koalas have ridged fingerprints with distinct loops, whorls and arches. These patterns are so detailed that if a koala were to touch a surface, the resulting fingerprint could easily be mistaken for a human's under forensic analysis. This remarkable similarity is due to the function of fingerprints. They help provide grip and fine motor control, which is crucial for koalas as they climb trees and grasp eucalyptus leaves. Scientists believe that koalas develop fingerprints independently through convergent evolution, where unrelated species evolve similar traits due to similar environmental pressures. For koalas, having detailed fingerprints likely improves their ability to grasp branches and pick leaves with precision, preventing them from slipping and allowing them to efficiently strip eucalyptus leaves from trees. While there are no known cases of a koala interfering with an actual criminal investigation, in theory, their fingerprints could be found at a crime scene and lead to confusion if investigators weren't aware of this unusual similarity. Given that koalas spend most of their time in trees and away from human spaces, the chances of a mix-up are low, but it remains an amusing and intriguing scientific fact.
Tigers are famous for their striking striped fur. But what many people don't realize is that their skin is also striped. If a tiger were to be completely shaved, you would see the same pattern of stripes on its skin as on its fur. This is because the pigmentation that creates the stripes extends beneath the fur and is embedded in the skin itself. Each tiger's stripes are unique, much like human fingerprints, meaning no two tigers have the exact same pattern. These stripes serve an important purpose in the wild, acting as natural camouflage. The bold black stripes break up the tiger's outline, helping it blend into tall grass, dense forests, and dappled sunlight, making it an effective ambush predator. The fact that the skin is also striped suggests that the pattern is not just a superficial feature of the fur, but is tied to the way pigment-producing cells, or melanocytes, distribute color during the tiger's development. Even if a tiger's fur falls out due to injury or shedding, the stripe pattern remains visible on its skin. This phenomenon is not unique to tigers. Other striped animals, such as zebras, also have skin that reflects their fur patterns. However, tigers are particularly notable because of the contrast and distinctiveness of their markings. This unique characteristic further highlights the fascinating biology of one of nature's most powerful and beautiful predators.
Frogs have a bizarre and fascinating way of dealing with toxins or indigestible material. They can literally throw up their entire stomachs, a process known as gastric eversion. Unlike humans, who simply vomit by expelling the contents of their stomachs, frogs take it a step further by completely ejecting their stomachs out of their mouths, turning them inside out in the process. Once the stomach is outside the body, the frog uses its front legs to wipe away any undigested food, toxins, or harmful substances. After the cleaning process is complete, the frog pulls its stomach back in and resumes normal function as if nothing happened. This ability is crucial for survival, especially if a frog eats something poisonous or difficult to digest. Scientists believe this adaptation evolved as a defense mechanism, allowing frogs to quickly purge their digestive system if they ingest something dangerous. Since frogs can't gag or vomit the way mammals do, this extreme method ensures that harmful substances don't remain in their system for long. It's a rapid and efficient way to reset their digestive process and avoid serious illness or death. Not all frog species are known to do this, but those that do have demonstrated a remarkable ability to survive in various environments where they might accidentally consume toxic prey. This unique trait adds to the long list of strange and fascinating adaptations found in amphibians.
The idea that sharks are immune to almost every disease, including cancer, is a widespread myth, but it is based on some fascinating scientific observations. While sharks are not completely immune to diseases, they do have an incredibly strong immune system that helps them resist infections, heal quickly, and even show a lower incidence of cancer compared to many other animals. One reason for their resilience is their highly efficient immune system, which is different from that of mammals. Sharks have cartilaginous skeletons rather than bones, and their cartilage contains compounds that have been studied for potential anti-cancer properties. Additionally, sharks produce unique antibodies that are exceptionally small and stable, allowing them to fight off infections more effectively than many other species. Their bodies also heal from wounds much faster than most animals, which helps them survive injuries that would be fatal to other marine creatures. The belief that sharks never get cancer has been debunked, as cases of cancerous tumours have been documented in sharks. However, cancer appears to be far less common in them than in other animals, leading researchers to investigate why. Some studies suggest that sharks' unique immune responses and certain compounds in their cartilage may play a role in inhibiting tumour growth, though research is ongoing. Because of this misconception, shark cartilage supplements were once marketed as a cancer treatment for humans, but there is no scientific evidence proving they have any effect on human cancer. Despite this, studying sharks' immune systems has provided valuable insights into disease resistance and potential medical advancements. While they are not entirely immune to all diseases, sharks are undoubtedly one of nature's most resilient and biologically fascinating creatures.
Octopuses are among the most intelligent and fascinating creatures in the animal kingdom, and part of what makes them so extraordinary is their unique nervous system. Unlike most animals, which have a centralized brain, an octopus has 9 brains, 1 large central brain in its head and 8 mini brains, 1 in each of its arms. The central brain is responsible for decision-making, problem-solving, and overall coordination, but the smaller brains in each arm allow for independent movement and control. This means that an octopus's arms can operate semi-autonomously, reacting to stimuli, and even performing complex tasks without direct input from the main brain. For example, an arm can continue searching for food, feeling its way around, or even trying to escape a predator, even if it is temporarily disconnected from the body. Each arm contains a dense network of neurons. About 2/3 of an octopus's total 500 million neurons are located in its arms. This decentralized nervous system allows an octopus to multitask in ways that seem almost alien. Studies have shown that an octopus's arms can learn and remember things independently, meaning they can process information and react to their environment even when separated from the main body. This unique nervous system plays a crucial role in an octopus's survival, helping it escape predators, manipulate objects, and solve complex problems. It's one of the reasons why octopuses are known for their remarkable intelligence, problem-solving abilities, and even tool use. Their distributed brain power gives them an almost eerie level of autonomy, making them some of the most advanced invertebrates on the planet.
Crocodiles are unable to stick their tongues out, a unique trait among reptiles. Unlike many animals whose tongues are highly mobile, a crocodile's tongue is firmly attached to the bottom of its mouth by a membrane, preventing it from extending outward. This anatomical adaptation plays a crucial role in the crocodile's survival and hunting strategy. One of the main reasons for this restriction is that crocodiles spend much of their time submerged in water, waiting to ambush prey. If they had a loose, mobile tongue, it could interfere with breathing or accidentally obstruct their airway when they snap their powerful jaws shut. By keeping the tongue securely in place, crocodiles can keep their mouths open underwater without the risk of water rushing into their throat. This is quite different from their close relatives, alligators, which have tongues that, while not as flexible as a human's, can still move more freely. Some species of reptiles, like snakes, use their tongues for sensory purposes, flicking them out to detect chemical signals in the air. Crocodiles, however, rely more on their powerful bite and highly developed sensory organs along their jaws to detect movement in the water. While they can't stick their tongues out, crocodiles can still use them in other ways. Some species, like the saltwater crocodile, have special glands on their tongues that help excrete excess salt from their bodies, allowing them to thrive in marine environments. So while they may lack tongue mobility, their powerful jaws and other adaptations make them some of the most efficient and fearsome predators in nature.
The ancient Romans had some unusual hygiene practices, and one of the most surprising was their use of urine as a mouthwash. While it may sound disgusting today, the practice actually had a scientific basis. Urine contains ammonia, a natural cleaning agent that can help remove stains and kill bacteria. Romans believed that rinsing their mouths with urine would help whiten their teeth and maintain oral hygiene. Urine was widely used in Roman society for cleaning purposes, not just for oral care. It was collected in pots placed on street corners and later used for laundry, tanning leather, and even bleaching fabric. The ammonia in aged urine was effective at breaking down dirt and grease, making it a valuable cleaning agent. In fact, urine was so important that the Roman Emperor Vespasian even imposed a urine tax, known as vectigal urinae, on those who collected and sold it for commercial use. Though Romans primarily used their own urine, they also imported urine from other regions, believing that urine from specific places was stronger or more effective for whitening teeth. Some sources suggest that the practice of using urine as a mouth rinse continued in some parts of Europe well into the Middle Ages. While the idea of rinsing with urine might seem revolting today, it demonstrates the Romans' resourcefulness and their ability to make use of natural substances for practical purposes. Thankfully, modern toothpaste and mouthwash have replaced this ancient method, but the cleaning power of ammonia is still used today in many household cleaning products.
The story of the first fire hydrant patent being lost in a fire is an ironic and widely repeated tale, though the details remain somewhat mysterious. Fire hydrants are essential firefighting tools designed to provide a ready supply of water in emergencies. However, the original patent for this crucial invention is believed to have been destroyed in a fire at the US Patent Office in 1836. The first known fire hydrant system dates back to the early 19th century. While various forms of underground water pipes with access points existed before, the credited inventor of the modern fire hydrant is Frederick Graf Sr., a Philadelphia-based engineer who supposedly designed an improved version around 1801. However, because the patent records were lost in the fire, there is no official documentation confirming Graf as the patent holder. The Great Fire of December 15, 1836, at the US Patent Office in Washington, D.C., was a devastating event that destroyed thousands of patents, including what was believed to be the original fire hydrant patent. At that time, patents were not backed up or recorded elsewhere, so any lost documents were gone forever. As a result, there is no official record of who first patented the modern fire hydrant. Despite the loss, fire hydrants continued to evolve and spread throughout cities, becoming a critical part of urban infrastructure. Later designs improved water pressure, accessibility and durability, ensuring that fire departments had a reliable source of water to combat blazes. While the story of the lost patent remains a fascinating historical irony, the fire hydrant itself has endured as one of the most essential firefighting tools, helping to save countless lives and properties over the centuries.
The Vikings were known for their seafaring skills, but they were also expert travelers on land, especially in the snowy mountainous regions of Scandinavia. One of the most fascinating aspects of their transportation methods is that they used bones as skis over 4,000 years ago. While modern skiing is associated with sleek wooden or fiberglass equipment, early Nordic people, including the Vikings, crafted primitive skis from animal bones to glide over the snow with ease. Skiing itself dates back at least 8,000 years, with evidence of ancient ski-like carvings found in Russia, China, and Scandinavia. However, it was the Norse people who refined skiing into both a practical mode of transport and a military skill. The Vikings, in particular, are believed to have used skis made from animal bones, such as horse or reindeer leg bones, which were strapped to their feet to help them move quickly over ice and snow. These bone skis were especially useful for hunting, traveling between villages, and navigating the harsh Nordic winters. Archaeologists have uncovered ancient skis, some dating back over 6,000 years, made from wood and lined with animal fat or fur to improve glide. But even before the widespread use of wooden skis, bone skates and skis were common, as they were both durable and readily available. By the time the Vikings became dominant in the 8th to 11th centuries, skiing had become an important skill for survival and even warfare. In fact, Norse mythology even includes Ulla, the god of skiing, who was believed to be a great hunter and warrior. Over time, the Vikings transitioned to using wooden skis, but their early reliance on bone skis highlights their resourcefulness and ability to adapt to their environment. Today, skiing is a major winter sport, but its origins can be traced back to these early innovations by ancient Norse civilizations.
The Statue of Liberty, one of the most iconic symbols of freedom and democracy in the United States, was originally intended for Egypt, not the United States. The French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi, who designed Lady Liberty, first envisioned a similar statue to stand at the entrance of Egypt's Suez Canal in the mid-19th century. In the 1860s, Egypt's ruler, Khedive Ismail Pasha, sought to modernize the country and had commissioned grand projects, including the Suez Canal, which officially opened in 1869. Bartholdi proposed a massive statue called Egypt Bringing Light to Asia, a robed woman holding a torch, intended to symbolize progress and enlightenment. The design strongly resembled what would later become the Statue of Liberty. However, Egypt ultimately rejected the idea due to the project's high cost. After the failure of his Egyptian project, Bartholdi turned to the United States, where he found support for a similar statue. He adjusted his original design, transforming it into Liberty Enlightening the World. With the help of Gustave Eiffel, who designed the internal iron framework, and funding from both France and American donations, the Statue of Liberty was completed and officially dedicated in 1886 in New York Harbor. Though it never stood in Egypt, Bartholdi's original vision played a crucial role in shaping one of the world's most famous monuments. Today, the Statue of Liberty remains a powerful symbol of freedom and opportunity, welcoming millions of visitors and immigrants to the United States.
It is true that George Washington grew hemp on his farm at Mount Vernon, but this was not the marijuana commonly associated with recreational or medicinal use today. In the 18th century, hemp was an essential crop in the American colonies, valued for its strong fibers used in making rope, sails, clothing and paper. Like many farmers of his time, Washington cultivated hemp for its industrial uses rather than for smoking or medicinal purposes. Records from Mount Vernon show that Washington grew hemp as early as the 1760s. He frequently wrote about experimenting with different seed varieties and improving cultivation methods. In his diary entries, Washington mentioned separating male and female plants, which some speculate could indicate an interest in maximizing resin production. However, there is no direct evidence that Washington or his contemporaries used hemp for recreational or psychoactive purposes. At the time, hemp was a highly encouraged crop in the colonies. The British government even required some American farmers to grow it because of its importance in producing naval supplies like ropes and sails. Hemp was such a valuable resource that it was even considered a form of currency in Virginia during Washington's time. Though hemp and marijuana come from the same plant species, cannabis sativa, the industrial hemp that Washington grew, contained very low levels of THC, the psychoactive compound in marijuana. It wasn't until the 20th century that hemp cultivation was banned in the United States due to its association with marijuana. Today, hemp is once again legally grown for industrial and medicinal purposes. So, while George Washington did grow hemp, the idea that he was a marijuana enthusiast is a misconception. His focus was on its practical agricultural uses, not personal consumption.
The first recorded speeding ticket in history was issued in 1902 to a man driving at a shocking speed of 12 miles per hour. While that may seem incredibly slow by today's standards, at the time, early automobiles were a new and often feared technology, and speed limits were much lower than they are today. The driver in question was a British man named Walter Arnold, who was caught speeding in Paddock Wood, Kent, England. At the time, the legal speed limit for motor vehicles was 2 miles per hour in towns and 4 miles per hour in rural areas. Not only was Arnold driving at 6 times the speed limit, but he was also breaking another law, failing to have a person walking in front of his vehicle waving a red flag, a requirement under the Locomotive Act of 1865, also known as the Red Flag Act. A local constable, realizing Arnold's reckless speed, chased him down on a bicycle. The officer caught up with him, stopped the vehicle and issued the very first speeding fine. Arnold was fined 1 shilling for his offence. This moment marked the beginning of what would become a common part of driving history: traffic laws and enforcement. As cars became more powerful and roads became busier, governments around the world introduced stricter speed limits, fines and safety regulations. Today, while speeds of 12 miles per hour are considered laughably slow for modern vehicles, this first speeding ticket was a major milestone in the evolution of traffic laws and road safety.
Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd President of the United States, had a deep love for birds, particularly mockingbirds. Among his many pets, one of his most famous was a mockingbird named Dick, which he kept in the White House during his presidency. This was significant because Jefferson was one of the first US presidents to keep a pet in the White House. Jefferson's fascination with mockingbirds was well documented. He is said to have owned several mockingbirds throughout his life, but Dick was reportedly his favorite. Jefferson admired the bird's ability to mimic sounds and melodies, and he often let Dick fly freely around the White House, rather than keeping him caged all the time. The bird would perch on Jefferson's shoulder while he worked, sing from the windowsills, and even respond to Jefferson's whistles and tunes. Jefferson's love for mockingbirds went beyond just keeping them as pets. He was an early advocate for their protection, writing about their intelligence and musical abilities. He even collected and recorded their songs, fascinated by their mimicry of other birds and sounds. In letters, Jefferson mentioned how he would play the violin while Dick would sing along, making their relationship even more unique. Jefferson's interest in mockingbirds reflects his broader love of nature, music, and science. He believed in studying and appreciating the natural world, and his affection for these birds was just one example of his intellectual curiosity. Today, the northern mockingbird is the state bird of 5 US states, and its legacy in American history is partly tied to Jefferson's admiration.
In ancient Greece, throwing an apple at someone was not just a playful act, it was actually a symbolic marriage proposal. This tradition stemmed from Greek mythology and cultural customs, where apples were associated with love, beauty, and fertility. The practice was linked to the story of the Golden Apple of Discord, which played a key role in the events leading to the Trojan War. According to legend, the goddess Eris threw a golden apple, inscribed with "For the fairest among the goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite," sparking a rivalry that ultimately led to the famous war. Because of this, apples became symbols of desire and romantic pursuit. In ancient Greek society, if a man threw an apple at a woman, it meant he was proposing marriage or expressing his love and desire for her. If the woman caught the apple, it was considered an acceptance of the proposal. This was not just a casual gesture, but a serious cultural tradition that carried significant meaning. Apples also appeared in Greek literature and poetry as symbols of affection and devotion. For example, the poet Theocritus referenced apples in romantic contexts, reinforcing their association with love. Additionally, the Greeks believed that eating an apple together was a sign of bonding and commitment between lovers. While the tradition of proposing with an apple has long faded, the symbolism of apples in romance and mythology still lingers today. The phrase "the apple of my eye" is one modern example that continues to reflect the deep historical connection between apples and love.
Queen Elizabeth I, one of the most famous monarchs in British history, had a gingerbread mold shaped like her own likeness. And this curious item is a fascinating reflection of her reign and the culture of the time. In the late 16th century, gingerbread was a popular treat in England, often associated with festive occasions, celebrations, and even political messages. The use of gingerbread molds to shape cookies or cakes into various forms was a common practice, and the molds were often designed to impress guests or convey messages of power, status, or affection. Elizabeth's gingerbread mold was likely a symbol of her authority and iconic status. As a powerful queen who reigned over a golden age of exploration, culture, and influence, Elizabeth was often depicted in various forms of art and symbolism, and this gingerbread mold would have served as another way to immortalize her image. So, the mold itself, thought to be crafted in the Elizabethan style, would have been used to create gingerbread cookies or cakes that were shaped like her face or royal portrait. During Elizabeth's time, gingerbread was not only enjoyed as a sweet treat, but also as a form of social currency. Gingerbread cookies were often presented to guests at court, given as gifts, and sometimes even used to convey political messages or alliances. The fact that a gingerbread mold was created in the Queen's likeness speaks to the high esteem in which she was held and the importance of royal symbolism in everyday life. Elizabeth, who was keenly aware of her public image, would have appreciated this gesture as a way to project her image of power and majesty to her subjects. Gingerbread molds shaped like prominent figures such as monarchs or important individuals were not uncommon. However, Elizabeth's mold stands out because it combined royal imagery with the playful nature of food. In addition to this gingerbread mold, Elizabeth I was known for her lavish courtly celebrations and indulgence in extravagant feasts. Gingerbread, along with other sweet treats, was often part of the elaborate banquets and festivities that marked important occasions during her reign. This mold is now a quirky historical artifact that gives us a glimpse into the cultural and social practices of Elizabethan England, while also underscoring Elizabeth's position as a celebrated and almost mythic figure in her time.
Science. Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States and a polymath known for his numerous inventions and contributions to science, invented swim fins for his hands in the 18th century. His invention was part of his lifelong fascination with improving daily life through practical tools and innovations. Franklin, who was an avid swimmer himself, came up with the idea for hand fins as a way to enhance a swimmer's ability to navigate the water more effectively. The idea of using swim fins or flippers to aid in swimming was not entirely new, but Franklin's version was unique in that it was designed to be worn on the hands rather than the feet. His hand fins were essentially flat, stiff paddles made from wood or leather, with straps to secure them to the hands. These paddles allowed swimmers to push more water with each stroke, increasing speed and efficiency, somewhat like the fins used by modern divers today. While Franklin's design was quite rudimentary compared to modern swim fins, it showed his inventive spirit and his commitment to using science and creativity to solve everyday challenges. Franklin's interest in swimming was well documented throughout his life. He learned to swim as a child and continued to swim well into his later years, even using swimming as a form of exercise. His hand fins were just one of many innovations that he created for the purposes of improving human capability in different areas. Franklin, who also invented the lightning rod, bifocals and the Franklin stove, was constantly exploring new ideas and tools that could make life easier and more efficient. Though Franklin's hand fins didn't revolutionize the swimming world as some of his other inventions did, they were an early example of biomechanical innovation in water sports. They highlight Franklin's ability to think beyond the conventional, applying his scientific curiosity to all aspects of life. His hand fins were never widely adopted, but they remain an interesting footnote in the long history of swimming technology. Today, swim fins are typically worn on the feet, and they have evolved significantly from Franklin's wooden hand paddles, but his early contribution to the development of aquatic equipment is still noteworthy.
It might be surprising, but an average cloud weighs about 1 million pounds, or even more. This estimate is based on the density of water droplets in clouds and their overall volume. Scientists calculate this by measuring the water content of a cloud, typically around 0.5 grams of water per cubic meter, and multiplying it by the total volume of the cloud. A typical cumulus cloud, for example, can span about 1 kilometer in each direction, making it contain roughly 500 million grams, or 1.1 million pounds of water. Despite this massive weight, clouds appear to float effortlessly in the sky because the weight is spread over a vast area and is supported by rising air currents. The reason clouds don't come crashing down is due to the physics of air pressure and buoyancy. The water droplets or ice crystals that make up a cloud are incredibly tiny, allowing them to be suspended in the air. Warmer air rising from the ground carries these particles upward, counteracting the force of gravity. Additionally, the surrounding air is often denser than the moist air in the cloud, which further helps it stay afloat. Interestingly, even though clouds weigh so much, they still seem light and fluffy from the ground. This is because their mass is dispersed over a massive volume, making their density much lower than that of the air near the surface. When seen from below, they give the illusion of being weightless, despite actually carrying millions of pounds of water. This balance between gravity, air currents and buoyancy is what allows clouds to form, drift, and eventually bring the rain needed for life on Earth.
The average cumulus cloud holds an astonishing amount of water, about 500,000 litres or roughly 132,000 gallons. This might not seem obvious when looking at the sky, but clouds are made up of countless tiny water droplets or ice crystals suspended in the air. Scientists estimate this water content by considering the cloud's volume and the density of water droplets within it. A typical cumulus cloud, which can stretch about 1 kilometer wide and 1 kilometer tall, contains millions of cubic meters of air, with each cubic meter holding about 0.5 grams of water. When you add it all up, the total water content reaches around 500 metric tons, equivalent to 500,000 litres of liquid water. Despite holding so much water, clouds don't just dump all of it at once. The water in a cloud exists in a finely dispersed form, allowing it to remain suspended. These microscopic droplets are so light that they can be lifted by rising warm air, keeping them floating in the atmosphere. However, as the droplets collide and merge, they grow larger. When they become too heavy for the air currents to support, they fall to the ground as rain. Even though a cumulus cloud contains enough water to fill several swimming pools, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of it will turn into rainfall at once. This massive amount of water plays a crucial role in the Earth's water cycle. Clouds act as reservoirs that transport water across different regions, eventually releasing it as precipitation, which nourishes ecosystems, replenishes rivers, and sustains life. The next time you look up at a fluffy cumulus cloud, you're actually gazing at hundreds of thousands of liters of water delicately balanced between the forces of gravity and air currents.
A day on Pluto is incredibly long compared to Earth's 24-hour cycle. One full rotation of Pluto on its axis takes approximately 153.6 hours, which is about 6.4 Earth days. This means that if you were standing on Pluto, the sun would rise, move across the sky, and then set more than 6 days later. The reason for Pluto's lengthy day is its slow rotation speed. It spins at a much lower rate than Earth due to its small size and distance from the Sun. Pluto's slow rotation is influenced by its unique relationship with its largest moon, Charon. Unlike Earth's moon, which is much smaller in proportion to our planet, Charon is nearly half the size of Pluto. The two objects are so close in mass that they orbit a common center of gravity located outside Pluto itself. This has led to mutual tidal locking, meaning Pluto and Charon always show the same face to each other. While Pluto takes 153.6 hours to complete one full rotation, Charon orbits Pluto in the exact same amount of time, creating a synchronized system where the same sides always face each other. Because Pluto's day is so long, its nights and days last for over 3 Earth days each, leading to extreme temperature variations. Pluto is already one of the coldest known places in the solar system, with surface temperatures plunging to minus 375 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 225 degrees Celsius. The long darkness means certain regions experience prolonged freezing, while the extended daylight allows some areas to absorb a bit of solar radiation. Though Pluto is still far too distant for the sun's warmth to have a major effect, this slow, icy world experiences time very differently than Earth, making a single day feel like nearly an entire week back home.
It may be surprising, but Earth's core is actually hotter than the surface of the Sun. While the Sun's outer surface, or photosphere, has an average temperature of about 5,500 degrees Celsius, the Earth's inner core reaches temperatures of approximately 5,200 to 6,000 degrees Celsius. This means the temperature at the center of our planet is on par with, or even hotter than, the Sun's visible surface. However, the Sun's core is much hotter than both, reaching an astonishing 15 million degrees Celsius due to nuclear fusion. The immense heat of Earth's core comes from several sources. Some of it is left over from the planet's formation about 4.5 billion years ago, when countless collisions and gravitational compression generated intense heat. Another key factor is the radioactive decay of elements like uranium, thorium, and potassium deep within the Earth. These elements constantly release energy as they break down, keeping the core scorching hot. Additionally, the intense pressure at the center of the Earth, caused by the weight of the entire planet above, further contributes to its high temperatures through adiabatic heating, where compression increases temperature. Despite being so hot, Earth's core remains solid at its very center due to the immense pressure keeping the iron and nickel in a compacted solid state. Surrounding it is the outer core, a layer of molten metal that is in constant motion. This movement generates Earth's magnetic field, which protects the planet from solar radiation. Though we can't directly observe the core, scientists study it through seismic waves from earthquakes, revealing its extreme heat and composition. The fact that our own planet's core rivals the Sun's surface in temperature is a fascinating reminder of the powerful forces hidden beneath our feet.
GPS satellites need to account for Einstein's theory of relativity, or they would be off by about 7 miles, which is roughly 11 kilometers per day. This happens because time runs differently depending on speed and gravity, as described by Einstein's special and general theories of relativity. Since GPS satellites orbit Earth at an altitude of about 20,200 kilometers, or 12,550 miles, and move at speeds of around 14,000 kilometers per hour, or 8,700 miles per hour, these relativistic effects become significant. If left uncorrected, GPS signals would become increasingly inaccurate, making the system unreliable for navigation. 2 main relativistic effects impact GPS satellites. The first is time dilation from special relativity, which states that objects moving at high speeds experience time more slowly compared to stationary observers. Since GPS satellites are moving much faster than people on Earth's surface, their onboard atomic clocks tick about 7 microseconds per day slower than clocks on the ground. The second effect comes from general relativity, which describes how gravity warps time. Since GPS satellites are much farther from Earth's gravitational pull than we are on the surface, they experience weaker gravity, causing their clocks to tick 45 microseconds per day, faster than clocks on Earth. Combined with the 7 microsecond slowdown from special relativity, The net effect is that GPS satellite clocks run 38 microseconds faster per day than Earth-based clocks. While 38 microseconds seems tiny, even a small time discrepancy leads to major errors in position calculations. GPS works by measuring the time it takes for signals to travel from satellites to receivers on Earth, and since light moves at 300,000 kilometers per second, even a 1 microsecond error results in a position error of about 300 meters. If uncorrected, these errors would compound to about 7 miles per day, making GPS navigation completely unreliable. To prevent this, GPS satellites are designed to pre-adjust their onboard clocks to counteract relativistic effects. Scientists program them to tick slightly slower on launch, ensuring they stay synchronized with Earth-based time. This precise application of Einstein's relativity allows GPS to maintain accuracy within a few meters, enabling everything from smartphone navigation to military operations and precision agriculture. Without these relativistic corrections, modern GPS would be completely useless.
The Eiffel Tower leans slightly away from the sun during the day because its metal expands when heated. This fascinating phenomenon is due to the thermal expansion of iron, which causes the tower to shift as temperatures change. When exposed to sunlight, the side of the tower facing the sun absorbs heat, causing the metal to expand and elongate. Meanwhile, the shaded side remains cooler and does not expand as much, leading to a slight tilt away from the sun. This shift is not extreme, but it is measurable. On particularly hot days, the top of the Eiffel Tower can move by up to 15 centimeters or 6 inches from its original position. This effect is temporary. Once the metal cools down at night, the tower gradually returns to its normal upright position. Engineers took this natural expansion into account when designing the tower, ensuring that it remains structurally sound despite these daily shifts. Thermal expansion affects many large metal structures, but the Eiffel Tower is especially notable due to its wrought iron construction and massive height of 330 meters or 1,083 feet. Since metal expands when heated and contracts when cooled, the tower also grows slightly taller during summer, increasing in height by about 15 centimeters or 6 inches. Conversely, in colder temperatures, the metal contracts, making the tower shrink back to its usual height. Gustav Eiffel, the engineer behind the tower, understood these principles and designed the structure to withstand expansion, contraction, and even strong winds. The Eiffel Tower's ability to lean and adapt to temperature changes is a remarkable example of engineering and physics at work. So, when visiting Paris on a sunny day, you're actually looking at a slightly tilted and taller version of the iconic landmark.
It might sound strange, but your DNA is about 60% similar to that of a banana. This similarity exists because all living organisms share a common evolutionary ancestor and use DNA as the blueprint for life. While humans and bananas are obviously very different, we both rely on many of the same fundamental biological processes, such as cell division, respiration, and DNA replication. These essential functions require similar genes, which is why a significant portion of our DNA overlaps. The 60% similarity does not mean that humans and bananas are 60% identical, but rather that 60% of our genes have recognizable counterparts in bananas. These shared genes are primarily responsible for basic cellular functions. For example, both humans and bananas have genes related to cell growth, DNA repair, and metabolism, processes necessary for life in both plants and animals. However, the remaining 40% of our DNA contains the unique instructions that make us distinctly human, including those responsible for complex traits like intelligence, a nervous system, and muscle structure. This genetic similarity is a reminder of the interconnectedness of life on Earth. All living things, from bacteria to humans to bananas, evolved from a common single-celled ancestor billions of years ago. Over time, evolution introduced mutations and new genetic instructions that led to the vast diversity of life we see today. Even though humans and bananas belong to entirely different kingdoms, Animalia and Plantae, we still retain genetic traces of our shared origins. So, while you may not look or act anything like a banana, deep in your DNA, you share a surprising amount of molecular history with this yellow fruit. It's a fascinating example of how all life is genetically connected.
Velcro was inspired by burrs that stuck to a dog's fur, leading to one of the most famous examples of biomimicry, where nature influences human inventions. In 1941, Swiss engineer Georges de Mestral went on a hike with his dog and noticed that tiny burrs from plants had latched onto the dog's fur and his own clothes. Curious about how they stuck so well, he examined the burrs under a microscope and discovered that they were covered in tiny hook-like structures that gripped onto fibers and hair. This natural mechanism gave him the idea to create a fastening system based on the same principle. After years of experimentation, de Mestral developed a two-part fastening system, one side with tiny hooks and the other with small loops. When pressed together, the hooks latched onto the loops, creating a strong but easily reversible bond. He named his invention Velcro, a combination of the French words velours, velvet, and crochet, hook. By 1955, he had patented the idea, and Velcro quickly became a widely used fastening material. Velcro found its first major success in aerospace and military applications, as NASA used it to secure objects in zero gravity, and soldiers found it useful for fastening gear quickly. Over time, Velcro became a household staple, used in clothing, shoes, bags, medical equipment, and even sports gear. Today, it is recognized as one of the greatest examples of how nature can inspire practical human innovations. This story of Velcro highlights the power of observing nature and applying its designs to solve everyday problems. The next time you use Velcro on your shoes or backpack, you can thank a Swiss engineer, his dog, and the humble burr for one of the world's most useful inventions.
The first 3D printer was invented in 1983 by Chuck Hull, an American engineer who revolutionized manufacturing and prototyping. Hull developed a process called stereolithography, or SLA, which used ultraviolet light to harden liquid resin layer by layer, forming a solid object. This breakthrough allowed for the rapid creation of three-dimensional prototypes, eliminating the need for traditional machining or molding. He patented his invention in 1986 and founded 3D Systems, the first company to commercialize 3D printing technology. Hull's invention marked the beginning of additive manufacturing, a method where objects are built up layer by layer rather than carved or molded from raw material. Early 3D printers were expensive and primarily used by large companies for rapid prototyping, allowing engineers and designers to test product designs quickly before full-scale production. Over time, new techniques like selective laser sintering, or SLS, and fused deposition modeling, or FDM, expanded the possibilities of 3D printing, making it more accessible and cost-effective. Since its invention, 3D printing has evolved dramatically, with applications in medicine, aerospace, automotive, fashion, and even food production. Today, 3D printers can create custom prosthetics, human tissue, rocket parts, houses, and even edible items like chocolate and pizza. As the technology continues to improve, 3D printing is becoming more affordable and widely used, transforming how products are designed and manufactured. What started as a single invention in 1983 has now grown into an industry with endless possibilities, shaping the future of manufacturing, healthcare, and space exploration. Chuck Hull's pioneering work laid the foundation for a technological revolution, proving that layer-by-layer innovation can change the world.
It may sound strange, but you could charge your phone by peeing on a specialized microbial fuel cell. This innovative technology uses bacteria to generate electricity from urine, making it a potential renewable energy source. Scientists have developed microbial fuel cells that contain special microorganisms capable of breaking down the organic compounds in urine and converting them into electrical energy. While the power output is still relatively low compared to traditional batteries, researchers see this as a promising step towards sustainable off-grid energy solutions. The concept works by harnessing the natural process of microbial metabolism. Inside the fuel cell, bacteria consume the nutrients in urine and, as a byproduct, release electrons. These electrons flow through an external circuit, creating an electric current. While a single microbial fuel cell generates only a small amount of power, multiple cells can be linked together to produce enough electricity to charge small devices such as LED lights, radios, and even smartphones. One of the most exciting applications of this technology is in off-grid locations or areas with limited electricity access. Scientists, including those at the University of the West of England, UWE Bristol, have tested microbial fuel cells in refugee camps and remote areas where electricity is scarce. By using human waste as a power source, these fuel cells could provide sustainable energy while also helping with waste management and sanitation. While microbial fuel cell technology is not yet efficient enough to replace conventional charging methods, ongoing research aims to increase power output and efficiency. In the future, we might see urine-powered public toilets that generate electricity for lighting, or even home-based MFC systems that turn waste into usable energy. This unique approach to bioenergy highlights the potential of harnessing nature for clean and renewable power, proving that even bodily waste can be a valuable resource.
Your body is made up of an astonishing 37.2 trillion cells, a number that highlights the incredible complexity of human life. These cells come in various types, each with specialized functions that keep your body running smoothly. From the neurons in your brain that transmit signals to your muscles and organs, to the red blood cells that carry oxygen throughout your body, every cell plays a crucial role in maintaining health and function. This massive cellular network works together in harmony, forming tissues, organs, and systems that allow you to move, think, breathe, and even heal from injuries. The estimate of 37.2 trillion cells comes from scientific calculations that take into account the average size and density of different types of cells in the human body. However, this number is not fixed. It varies depending on factors such as age, size, and overall health. Cells are constantly being created and destroyed, with some, like skin and blood cells, having short lifespans and requiring frequent replacement, while others, like certain brain and heart cells, can last a lifetime. Each of these trillions of cells contains DNA, the blueprint of life, which carries the genetic instructions that determine your physical traits and biological processes. Within the nucleus of most cells, DNA directs protein production and cellular function, ensuring that your body operates efficiently. Cells also communicate with each other through chemical signals, allowing for coordinated actions such as immune responses, digestion, and muscle movement. Despite their microscopic size, these cells work together as a vast interconnected system, proving that even the smallest units of life contribute to the grand complexity of the human body. Understanding that your body consists of 37.2 trillion cells gives a new perspective on how intricate and well-organized life truly is. It highlights the importance of taking care of your body, as every cell depends on proper nutrition, hydration, and oxygen to function at its best. Whether it's through exercise, a balanced diet, or adequate rest, maintaining your cellular health is essential for overall well-being. The next time you look at yourself in the mirror, remember that you are more than just one person. You are a living, breathing universe of trillions of tiny, hard-working cells.
Human hair may seem delicate, but it is surprisingly strong and resilient. In fact, a single strand of hair can support up to 100 grams, or 3.5 ounces, of weight. When you multiply this by the average number of hairs on a human head, around 100,000 to 150,000, the collective strength of your hair is immense. In theory, if all the strands worked together without breaking, human hair could support the weight of 2 elephants, which is roughly 12,000 to 14,000 pounds, or 5,400 to 6,350 kilograms. This incredible strength comes from hair's unique structure and composition, making it one of the most durable natural fibers. The secret behind hair's strength lies in keratin, a tough protein that also makes up nails and the outer layer of skin. Each hair strand consists of 3 layers: the cuticle, which is the outer protective layer, the cortex, which provides strength and elasticity, and the medulla, a soft core present in some hair types. The cortex, packed with keratin proteins and strong chemical bonds, is what gives hair its remarkable tensile strength, its ability to resist breaking under tension. This structure allows hair to stretch up to 50% of its original length when wet before snapping, further demonstrating its durability. Despite being incredibly strong, hair is still vulnerable to damage and breakage due to excessive heat, harsh chemicals, and mechanical stress. Repeated styling, bleaching, and exposure to environmental factors can weaken the protein bonds, making hair brittle. However, when well maintained, hair remains an incredibly tough material, capable of withstanding significant forces. Scientists have even explored using hair for structural applications, such as reinforcing materials in construction and textiles. The idea that human hair can support 2 elephants might sound unbelievable, but it highlights the impressive natural engineering behind this seemingly fragile fibre. While no one would attempt to lift elephants with hair in real life, this fact serves as a reminder of how strong the human body can be in unexpected ways.
The small intestine is an essential part of the digestive system, playing a crucial role in breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. Despite its name, it is not small at all. It stretches to an impressive 22 feet, or 6.7 meters, in length on average. However, it is called small because of its relatively narrow diameter, about 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters, compared to the wider large intestine, which is much shorter but larger in width. This long coiled tube is packed inside the abdomen, looping around itself to fit within the limited space of the digestive tract. The small intestine is divided into 3 sections: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. The duodenum, the first part, receives partially digested food from the stomach and mixes it with digestive enzymes and bile to break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. The jejunum, the middle section, is where most of the nutrient absorption occurs through the walls of tiny finger-like projections called villi, which increase surface area. The final part, the ileum, continues nutrient absorption and transfers any remaining undigested material to the large intestine. Despite being long, the small intestine is efficiently packed within the abdominal cavity, constantly contracting and relaxing through a process called peristalsis, which helps move food along. If stretched out completely, its length would be about 4 times the height of an average adult. This extensive surface area, combined with millions of microscopic folds and villi, allows for maximum nutrient absorption, ensuring that essential vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients enter the bloodstream to nourish the body. The small intestine's remarkable length is a testament to the body's intricate design. It works tirelessly to break down food, absorb nutrients, and keep us energized. Without this lengthy yet efficient organ, our bodies wouldn't be able to extract the vital substances needed for survival, making it one of the most crucial components of the digestive system.
Unlike most parts of the body that stop growing after puberty, your ears and nose never stop growing throughout your lifetime. This continuous growth happens due to changes in cartilage, the flexible connective tissue that makes up much of these structures. While bones stop growing once you reach adulthood, cartilage continues to change, and over time it expands and droops due to gravity and the loss of elasticity. This is why older individuals often have noticeably larger ears and noses compared to when they were younger. The growth of the ears and nose is not due to the production of new cartilage, but rather the gradual stretching and breakdown of collagen and elastin, the proteins that provide structure and flexibility. As these proteins degrade with age, the cartilage weakens and loses its ability to hold its original shape. At the same time, gravity pulls the soft tissues downward, making the ears appear longer and the nose more prominent. This process is slow but noticeable over decades. Studies suggest that ears grow at an average rate of about 0.22 millimeters per year, while the nose also lengthens and widens slightly over time. Though the changes may seem minor year to year, they become significant over a lifetime. The effects of this continuous growth can also be influenced by genetic factors, sun exposure, which can break down collagen faster, and overall skin elasticity. This phenomenon is a natural part of aging and is not a sign of disease or abnormal development. Some people choose cosmetic procedures to reduce the size of their ears or reshape their noses later in life. But for most, these changes are just another part of the natural aging process. So, while you might not notice it happening day to day, your ears and nose are constantly changing. Proof that, even in adulthood, the body is never truly static.
The human body is an incredibly efficient heat generator, constantly producing and releasing energy to maintain its core temperature. In just 30 minutes, your body produces enough heat to boil half a gallon, about 1.9 litres, of water. This impressive thermal output is a result of metabolism, the process by which your body converts food into energy. Every cell in your body generates heat as it carries out essential functions like breathing, digesting food, and maintaining organ function. Even when at rest, your body continuously burns calories, producing a steady supply of warmth. The primary source of this heat is the energy produced by cellular respiration, particularly within the mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses inside your cells. Your muscles play a huge role in heat production, as they generate warmth even when you're not actively moving. During exercise or physical activity, heat production skyrockets due to increased metabolic demand, making your body even more efficient at generating warmth. This is why you start sweating when you work out. Your body must regulate its temperature to prevent overheating. While most of this heat escapes through radiation, conduction and evaporation, the total amount generated over time is substantial. The average human body at rest emits about 100 watts of power, comparable to a standard incandescent light bulb. When multiplied over several hours, this heat energy is enough to bring a significant amount of water to its boiling point. The heat output can vary depending on factors such as age, metabolism, muscle mass, and environmental conditions. This natural heat production is essential for survival, allowing humans to maintain a stable body temperature of around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius, even in cold environments. It also explains why people huddle together in cold weather. The collective body heat of a group can significantly increase warmth. So, while you may not be able to make tea with body heat alone, the fact that your body can generate so much thermal energy in just 30 minutes is a fascinating testament to the power of human biology.
Women's hearts beat faster than men's due to differences in heart size, hormonal influences, and metabolic demands. On average, a woman's resting heart rate ranges between 78 to 82 beats per minute, while a man's typically falls between 70 to 72 beats per minute. This difference occurs because women generally have smaller hearts, meaning they pump less blood per beat, which is known as lower stroke volume. To compensate, the heart beats faster to maintain adequate blood circulation and oxygen delivery throughout the body. Another key factor influencing heart rate differences is hormonal regulation. Estrogen, a primary female hormone, has a direct impact on the cardiovascular system, affecting heart rate and blood vessel function. Throughout the menstrual cycle, heart rate can fluctuate slightly, particularly during ovulation and pregnancy when increased metabolic demand requires faster circulation. In contrast, testosterone, the dominant male hormone, contributes to a slightly lower resting heart rate and greater heart efficiency due to larger muscle mass and a higher oxygen carrying capacity in the blood. Cardiovascular fitness and body composition also play a role in heart rate differences. Because women naturally have higher fat percentages and slightly lower hemoglobin levels, their bodies must work harder to transport oxygen efficiently. This leads to a slightly increased heart rate, particularly during physical activity. However, trained female athletes often have lower heart rates due to improved cardiovascular efficiency, just like their male counterparts. Despite these differences, both men and women have similar overall heart health potential, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle through exercise, a balanced diet, and stress management is crucial for everyone. The faster heartbeat in women is simply a natural adaptation to physiological differences, proving once again how uniquely designed the human body is to function efficiently under varying conditions.
Your left lung is smaller than your right lung to accommodate the heart, which is slightly tilted toward the left side of your chest. While both lungs play a crucial role in breathing, their size difference is a natural adaptation to fit the body's internal layout. The right lung has 3 lobes, upper, middle and lower, while the left lung has only 2 lobes, upper and lower, making it smaller and narrower. This asymmetry ensures that the heart has enough space within the thoracic cavity without compressing vital structures. Despite being smaller, the left lung functions just as efficiently as the right lung. The body compensates for this size difference by making the right lung slightly larger and heavier, allowing it to take in a bit more air. However, both lungs work together seamlessly to supply oxygen to the bloodstream and remove carbon dioxide through the process of respiration. The trachea, or windpipe, splits into 2 bronchi, each leading to a lung, where oxygen is exchanged in tiny air sacs called alveoli. The heart's positioning within the mediastinum, which is the central region of the chest, plays a key role in why the lungs are asymmetrical. The cardiac notch, an indentation in the left lung, provides additional space for the heart. This design highlights the body's incredible anatomical efficiency, ensuring that all organs fit together in a way that maximizes function while minimizing space constraints. Although the left lung is smaller, this size difference does not impact lung capacity significantly in healthy individuals. However, conditions such as lung disease or heart enlargement can affect lung function and breathing efficiency. Understanding the body's structural adaptations, like the smaller left lung, gives insight into how human anatomy is finely tuned for optimal performance.
Your eyes can distinguish about 10 million different colors, making them one of the most remarkable sensory organs in the human body. This incredible ability is due to specialized photoreceptor cells in the retina called cones, which detect and interpret color. The human eye has 3 types of cone cells, each sensitive to different wavelengths of light: red, green, and blue. These primary colors mix in varying intensities, allowing us to perceive a vast spectrum of shades and hues. The brain plays a crucial role in processing color information. When light enters the eye, it is focused onto the retina, where cone cells absorb the light and send signals to the optic nerve. The brain then deciphers these signals, combining input from the different cone types to produce the perception of millions of colors. The actual number of distinguishable colors varies among individuals, depending on genetics, age, and even environmental factors. Some people, known as tetrachromats, have an extra type of cone cell, allowing them to see an even wider range of colors, potentially up to 100 million shades. Interestingly, color perception is also influenced by lighting conditions and contrast. In dim light, cone cells become less effective, and rod cells, which detect brightness but not color, take over. This is why colors appear muted or grayscale in low-light environments. Additionally, color perception can be affected by factors such as color blindness, a condition in which one or more cone cell types are absent or malfunctioning, reducing the ability to distinguish certain colors. The ability to see millions of colors is an evolutionary advantage, helping humans identify ripe fruits, detect environmental changes, and recognize subtle visual cues in nature. While other animals, such as birds and some reptiles, have even more advanced color vision, human eyesight remains an extraordinary adaptation, allowing us to experience the world in stunning detail and vibrant color.
The acid in your stomach is strong enough to dissolve metal, highlighting just how powerful and essential it is for digestion. The stomach produces hydrochloric acid, which has a pH level between 1 and 3, making it highly acidic, comparable to battery acid. This acidity is crucial for breaking down food, killing harmful bacteria, and activating digestive enzymes like pepsin, which helps break down proteins into smaller molecules for absorption. Despite its corrosive nature, stomach acid does not harm the stomach lining under normal conditions because of a thick layer of mucus that protects the stomach walls. This mucus barrier prevents the acid from eating away at the stomach itself. However, conditions like gastritis or ulcers can occur when the mucus lining is compromised, allowing acid to damage stomach tissue and cause pain or discomfort. Scientific experiments have shown that stomach acid can dissolve materials like zinc and even small pieces of iron, given enough time. However, the human digestive system is not designed to break down metals effectively, so swallowing larger objects like coins is still dangerous. The body will usually expel indigestible materials naturally, but in some cases medical intervention is required. The extreme strength of stomach acid demonstrates the body's incredible efficiency in digestion. It allows us to break down tough foods, extract vital nutrients, and defend against harmful microbes. While it won't melt a spoon instantly like in the movies, its ability to dissolve metals over time proves just how powerful our digestive system truly is.
Your bones are about 31% water, which might seem surprising considering how rigid and strong they are. While bones are primarily made of calcium, collagen and other minerals, water plays a crucial role in maintaining their structure, flexibility and overall function. This water content helps keep bones from becoming too brittle, allowing them to absorb impact and withstand daily stresses without easily breaking. Water is essential for bone metabolism and cellular function. Inside bones, there is a network of living cells, including osteoblasts, which build new bone, and osteoclasts, which break down old bone. These cells rely on water to transport nutrients, minerals, and waste products. Without enough hydration, bones can weaken over time, increasing the risk of fractures and osteoporosis. Bone marrow, which is found inside larger bones like the femur and pelvis, also contains a significant amount of water. This is where red and white blood cells are produced, playing a vital role in the body's immune system and oxygen transport. Water helps keep the bone marrow functioning properly by ensuring that blood flows efficiently through the tiny channels inside bones. Despite their high water content, bones remain one of the strongest materials in the human body, with a strength-to-weight ratio higher than steel. Staying properly hydrated supports bone health by maintaining flexibility and ensuring that essential nutrients like calcium and phosphorus are effectively absorbed. So while bones may seem dry and solid, they're actually dynamic, living tissues that depend on water for strength and function.
Venus is unique among the planets in our solar system because it rotates in the opposite direction of most other planets, a motion known as retrograde rotation. While Earth, Mars and most other planets rotate counterclockwise, when viewed from above the Sun's North Pole, Venus spins clockwise. This means that if you stood on Venus, you would see the sun rise in the west and set in the east, the opposite of what we experience on Earth. Scientists believe that Venus originally rotated in the same direction as the other planets, but was gradually flipped or slowed down due to massive impacts or gravitational interactions. One theory suggests that a giant collision with a protoplanet early in Venus's formation may have altered its spin. Another possibility is that the gravitational influence of the Sun and Venus's thick atmosphere created intense tidal forces that slowly reversed its rotation over time. Adding to its strangeness, Venus has the slowest rotation of any planet in the solar system. A single day on Venus, that's one full rotation, takes 243 Earth days, which is actually longer than its 225-day year, the time it takes to orbit the Sun. This means that a day on Venus lasts longer than a Venusian year. However, due to its retrograde motion, if you were on Venus, a single solar day from one sunrise to the next would last about 117 Earth days. Venus's unusual rotation is just one of its many extreme features. It also has an incredibly dense atmosphere, trapping heat through a runaway greenhouse effect, making it the hottest planet in the solar system, even hotter than Mercury. Its slow, backward spin adds to the planet's mystery and makes Venus a fascinating subject for astronomers studying planetary evolution.
The idea that there are more galaxies in the universe than grains of sand on Earth might sound unbelievable, but it's supported by astronomical observations. Scientists estimate that the observable universe contains at least 2 trillion galaxies, a number so vast it's difficult to comprehend. To put it in perspective, every galaxy can contain millions to trillions of stars, and each of those stars may have its own system of planets. The scale of the universe is truly mind-blowing. Comparing this to sand, Estimates suggest that Earth's beaches and deserts hold roughly 7.5 quintillion grains of sand. That's 7 quintillion, 500 quadrillion grains. While this is an enormous number, the universe easily surpasses it in terms of galaxies. And this only accounts for the observable universe, what we can detect with telescopes. The actual universe could be far larger, meaning the number of galaxies might be infinitely greater. Astronomers have gathered this data using telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope and, more recently, the James Webb Space Telescope. Deep space images like the Hubble Ultra Deep Field have revealed thousands of galaxies in just a tiny patch of sky, proving that galaxies fill the universe on an unimaginable scale. Since light from distant galaxies takes billions of years to reach us, we're actually seeing them as they were in the past. Some dating back to the early universe, just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. This comparison between galaxies and grains of sand highlights just how vast and mysterious the universe is. It raises profound questions about the possibility of extraterrestrial life, the structure of the cosmos, and how much of it remains undiscovered. Every galaxy could contain countless planetary systems, making the universe a seemingly infinite expanse of possibilities.
A day on Neptune lasts only 16 hours, making it one of the shortest planetary days in the solar system. This means that Neptune, the eighth and farthest planet from the Sun, completes a full rotation on its axis in just 16 Earth hours. Despite being nearly 4 times the size of Earth, Neptune spins at an incredible speed. Its equatorial rotation speed is about 2,700 kilometers per hour, much faster than Earth's 1,670 kilometers per hour. One reason for this rapid rotation is that Neptune is a gas giant, meaning it lacks a solid surface like Earth or Mars. Instead, it is composed mostly of hydrogen, helium and methane, allowing its atmosphere to rotate freely. Interestingly, different parts of Neptune's atmosphere rotate at different speeds, a phenomenon known as differential rotation. The planet's equator spins more slowly than its poles, creating intense jet streams and some of the fastest winds in the solar system, reaching up to 2,100 kilometers per hour. Neptune's short day has significant effects on its weather and atmospheric conditions. The rapid rotation contributes to its violent storms, including the famous Great Dark Spot, a massive storm system similar to Jupiter's Great Red Spot. The planet's turbulent atmosphere is driven by its internal heat, as Neptune radiates more than twice the energy it receives from the Sun, despite its extreme distance. Even though a day on Neptune is only 16 hours, a year on Neptune, the time it takes to orbit the Sun, is incredibly long, about 165 Earth years. This means that since its discovery in 1846, Neptune has only completed one full orbit around the Sun. Its fast spinning and long orbit make Neptune one of the most dynamic and fascinating planets in our solar system.
The idea that folding a piece of paper 103 times would make it thicker than the observable universe sounds impossible, but it's actually true due to the power of exponential growth. When you fold a piece of paper in half, its thickness doubles. If you keep folding, the thickness increases exponentially, meaning with every fold, the height of the stack grows at an accelerating rate rather than linearly. A standard sheet of paper is about 0.1 millimeters or 0.004 inches thick. After just 7 folds, the paper would be as thick as a notebook. At 23 folds, it would reach about 1 kilometer or 0.6 miles high. By 42 folds, it would extend beyond the moon, and at 51 folds, it would surpass the distance from Earth to the Sun, about 150 million kilometers, or 93 million miles. This rapid growth continues until, by the 103rd fold, the paper would be larger than the observable universe, which is estimated to be about 93 billion light-years in diameter. This mind-blowing result is due to the mathematics of exponential doubling, represented by the formula thickness equals initial thickness times 2 raised to the number of folds. By plugging in 103 folds, the thickness grows to an unimaginable scale. However, in reality, folding a paper this many times is physically impossible. Due to material limitations, paper can typically only be folded 7 to 12 times, even with large sheets and special techniques. The world record is 12 folds, achieved in 2012 by a team of students using an enormous sheet of toilet paper. Even though it's impractical, this thought experiment demonstrates the sheer power of exponential growth, a principle that also applies to things like population growth, computing power, and compound interest. It's an incredible reminder of how quickly numbers can escalate when doubling repeatedly.
The Sun is about halfway through its 10 billion year lifespan, meaning it is currently around 4.6 billion years old. As a G-type main sequence star, also known as G2V, the Sun is in the most stable phase of its life, where it fuses hydrogen into helium through nuclear fusion in its core. This process generates the immense heat and light that sustain life on Earth and power the entire solar system. For the next 5 billion years, the Sun will continue burning hydrogen at a steady rate. However, as it exhausts its hydrogen supply, it will gradually become hotter and larger, increasing its luminosity. Scientists estimate that within a billion years, this increase in brightness could make Earth too hot to sustain life, as the oceans may begin to evaporate due to rising temperatures. Eventually, when the Sun has burned through most of its hydrogen fuel, it will enter the red giant phase. During this stage, the core will shrink while the outer layers expand dramatically, potentially engulfing Mercury, Venus, and even Earth. The Sun will become much larger and cooler in temperature, turning a deep red color. After spending a few 100 million years as a red giant, the Sun will shed its outer layers, forming a planetary nebula, a stunning cloud of ionized gas. What remains will be the hot, dense core, which will become a white dwarf, a small but incredibly dense remnant of the once mighty Sun. Over trillions of years, this white dwarf will slowly cool and fade into a black dwarf, marking the final stage of the Sun's life. Even though the Sun is already middle-aged, there's no immediate danger of it burning out anytime soon. For billions of years, it will continue to shine, fueling life and driving the forces that shape our solar system. Understanding its life cycle gives us a glimpse into the future of Earth and the fate of other stars in the universe.
Yeah. The footprints left by Apollo astronauts on the Moon could last for millions of years, and possibly even longer. This is because the Moon lacks an atmosphere, which means there is no wind, rain, or flowing water to erode or wash them away like on Earth. Without these natural forces, the marks made by astronauts, rovers, and landers remain virtually unchanged. When the Apollo missions took place between 1969 and 1972, the astronauts walked across the Moon's surface, leaving deep footprints in the fine lunar regolith, the Moon's loose soil. This soil is made of tiny, sharp-edged dust particles formed over billions of years by constant meteorite impacts. The lack of moisture and wind helps these footprints stay intact because the loose grains don't shift easily without an external force. Although these prints could theoretically remain for millions of years, they aren't completely permanent. The main threat to their preservation is micrometeorite impacts. The Moon is constantly bombarded by tiny space rocks traveling at incredibly high speeds. Over time, these impacts will gradually wear down and disturb the footprints, but this process happens extremely slowly compared to erosion on Earth. Another potential factor is future lunar exploration. With NASA's Artemis program and other space agencies planning moon landings in the coming decades, increased human activity could disrupt some of the historic Apollo sites. However, many footprints and artifacts from past missions will likely remain untouched for thousands, if not millions, of years, serving as a testament to humanity's first steps beyond Earth. In a way, the Apollo footprints are like a time capsule, preserving a moment in history in one of the most stable environments in the solar system. Long after the astronauts themselves are gone, their footprints may still remain, a silent reminder of humanity's first journey to another world.
About 40 light-years away, in the constellation of Aquarius, lies a terrifyingly extreme exoplanet known as 55 Cancri E, often called a super-Earth because it is larger and more massive than Earth. This planet, however, is anything but hospitable. It's a hellish world where molten lava rains from the sky and temperatures soar to over 4,400 degrees Fahrenheit or 2,400 degrees Celsius. 55 Cancri E orbits a sun-like star called 55 Cancri A. But unlike Earth's comfortable orbit, this planet is extremely close to its star, completing a full orbit in just 18 hours. This proximity makes it tidally locked, meaning that one side of the planet is permanently facing the star, while the other remains in constant darkness. The day side experiences blistering heat, enough to melt rock into lava, while the night side is much cooler, yet still extremely hot by Earth's standards. Because of this extreme heat, scientists believe that 55 Cancri E has rivers and lakes of molten lava flowing across its surface. The atmosphere, if it exists, could be made of vaporized rock and heavy metals, and due to the planet's high gravity, it's possible that the vapor condenses and rains lava back onto the surface. This cycle would make for a truly nightmarish environment where molten rock constantly evaporates, rises and falls as fiery rain. Interestingly, some studies suggest that 55 Cancri E might have once been an ocean-covered world before being scorched by its star's intense heat. There is also speculation that the planet could have a carbon-rich interior, meaning it might contain large amounts of diamond beneath its lava-covered surface, earning it the nickname the Diamond Planet. Though we can't visit this super-Earth with today's technology, telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope, or JWS, are helping scientists study its atmosphere and composition in greater detail. While it may not be habitable, 55 Cancri E provides a fascinating glimpse into the diverse and extreme worlds that exist beyond our solar system.
The largest volcano in the solar system is Olympus Mons, a towering shield volcano located on Mars. Standing at an incredible 13.6 miles or 22 kilometers high, it is nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth. Its base spans about 370 miles or 600 kilometers in diameter, roughly the size of the state of Arizona or France. This massive size makes Olympus Mons the most dominant volcanic structure in the solar system. Olympus Mons is classified as a shield volcano, similar to Hawaii's Mauna Loa. Shield volcanoes are built up by successive lava flows over long periods, creating a wide, gently sloping profile rather than a steep cone. The low viscosity lava on Mars allowed Olympus Mons to spread out extensively, resulting in its enormous width. One reason Olympus Mons was able to grow so large is because Mars lacks plate tectonics. On Earth, tectonic plates move over hotspots, preventing a single volcano from growing indefinitely, as seen with the Hawaiian Islands. However, on Mars, the Martian crust remains stationary, allowing lava to erupt from the same spot for millions of years, continuously adding to the volcano's height and width. The summit of Olympus Mons features a large caldera, a depression about 50 miles wide, formed by the collapse of the volcano's summit after massive eruptions emptied the magma chamber. Surrounding the base is a steep 6-mile-high cliff, possibly formed by the weight of the volcano, causing the ground to buckle. Scientists believe Olympus Mons is relatively young in geological terms, with lava flows suggesting that it was active as recently as a few million years ago. While it is not currently erupting, future Mars missions may help determine whether it remains dormant or completely extinct. Its presence highlights the volcanic history of Mars and suggests that, at some point, the planet was much more geologically active than it is today. Exploring Olympus Mons would be a major goal for future human missions to Mars. Its towering height and vast lava plains make it one of the most fascinating and extreme natural wonders in our solar system.
A neutron star is one of the most extreme and fascinating objects in the universe, and it can spin at an astonishing rate. Some neutron stars rotate about 600 times per second. These incredibly dense remnants are formed when a massive star, much larger than our Sun, explodes in a supernova and collapses under its own gravity. The core is compressed into a sphere only about 12 miles in diameter, yet it contains more mass than the entire Sun. The reason neutron stars spin so fast is due to a process called conservation of angular momentum. When a massive star collapses into a neutron star, its core shrinks dramatically. But just like a figure skater pulling in their arms to spin faster, the star's rotation speeds up as its mass is compressed. This leads to some neutron stars called pulsars, spinning hundreds or even thousands of times per second. The fastest known neutron star, PSR-J 1748-2446 AD, spins at 716 rotations per second. Neutron stars also have intense magnetic fields, which cause them to emit powerful beams of electromagnetic radiation from their poles. If these beams sweep across Earth as the star spins, we detect them as pulsars, creating a rhythmic pulsing effect similar to a cosmic lighthouse. These pulses are so regular that pulsars were originally mistaken for signals from extraterrestrial life when first discovered in 1967. Despite their extreme rotation speeds, neutron stars are incredibly stable. Over time, their rotation gradually slows as they emit energy, but they can be spun up again if they are part of a binary system and steal material from a companion star. This process, called accretion, can make a neutron star spin even faster, creating what's known as a millisecond pulsar. Studying neutron stars helps scientists understand the limits of physics, as they represent one of the densest forms of matter in the universe, second only to black holes. Their extreme gravity, magnetic fields, and rapid rotation make them some of the most bizarre and fascinating celestial objects ever discovered.
Sunlight, the life-giving energy that powers our planet, takes approximately 8 minutes and 20 seconds to travel from the Sun to Earth. This is because light moves at an incredible speed of 186,282 miles per second, 299,792 kilometers per second. But the average distance between the Earth and the Sun is about 93 million miles, 150 million kilometers. Even at light speed, this journey still takes a little over 8 minutes. This delay means that whenever we look at the Sun or any other distant celestial body, we are actually seeing it as it was in the past, not as it is in real time. If the Sun were to suddenly stop shining, we wouldn't notice for over 8 minutes, as that's how long it would take for the last photons to reach Earth. The sunlight we receive is produced through nuclear fusion in the Sun's core, where hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, releasing enormous amounts of energy. However, the light generated inside the Sun doesn't reach the surface immediately. In fact, before it even begins its journey to Earth, it takes thousands to millions of years for the photons to work their way from the Sun's core to its outer layers, bouncing around inside the dense plasma. Once they reach the surface, they finally escape as sunlight and travel freely through space toward Earth. Sunlight is vital for life on our planet. It provides the energy needed for photosynthesis, helps regulate Earth's climate, and influences everything from ocean currents to weather patterns. The 8-minute, 20-second journey of sunlight is a constant reminder of our cosmic connection to the Sun, our star, which has sustained life for billions of years.
It may sound surprising, but strawberries aren't true berries, while bananas are. This odd classification comes down to botanical definitions, which differ from what we typically think of as berries in everyday language. In botany, a berry is defined as a fruit that develops from a single ovary, has a fleshy interior, and contains seeds embedded inside the flesh. Bananas fit this definition perfectly. They develop from a single flower's ovary, have a soft, seed-filled interior, even though the seeds are tiny and undeveloped in modern bananas, and lack a hard outer shell. This makes them true berries, just like grapes, kiwis, and tomatoes. Strawberries, on the other hand, don't meet the botanical criteria for berries. Instead of forming from a single ovary, they develop from multiple ovaries of a single flower, which merge into a fleshy structure. The tiny seeds on the outside of a strawberry aren't actually seeds. They are individual fruits called achenes, each containing a single seed inside. Because of this, strawberries fall into a different fruit category known as aggregate fruits, rather than true berries. The same rule applies to other commonly misclassified fruits. Raspberries and blackberries also fail the berry test because they're aggregate fruits, while watermelons and pumpkins, which might seem like a completely different type of fruit, are technically berries called pepos. This quirky classification is a great example of how science often challenges our everyday assumptions. While we'll probably keep calling strawberries berries for convenience, in the world of botany, bananas are the real winners of the berry title.
It might come as a surprise, but cheese is the most stolen food in the world. Studies have shown that roughly 4% of all cheese produced globally is stolen, making it the most frequently shoplifted food item. This theft rate surpasses even high-demand goods like meat, chocolate and saucy gasolina. But why is cheese such a popular target for thieves? One reason is its high value and easy resellability. Many types of cheese, especially premium or aged varieties like Parmesan, Gouda and Brie, can be quite expensive. Since cheese is in high demand worldwide, stolen cheese can easily be resold on the black market, to restaurants, or even at markets with little traceability. Some organised crime groups even engage in large-scale cheese heists, stealing massive quantities to sell for profit. Another factor is its accessibility. Cheese is a small, easy-to-hide item, making it an attractive target for both casual shoplifters and organised theft rings. Supermarkets and grocery stores often carry large amounts of cheese, and despite security measures, it remains one of the most frequently stolen products. Some notable cheese thefts have been truly daring. In Italy, criminals have stolen entire wheels of Parmigiano Reggiano, which can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars each. In the US and Europe, thieves have targeted trucks and warehouses storing cheese, sometimes getting away with tons of product at a time. Because of its high theft rates, some stores now use anti-theft measures, such as security tags on expensive cheeses, or keeping them behind locked glass cases. While cheese theft may seem amusing at first, for retailers, it represents a serious issue that leads to millions of dollars in losses every year. So next time you're in the dairy aisle, remember, you're looking at the world's most stolen food.
Cashews are one of the most unique and fascinating nuts because they don't grow like typical nuts or seeds. Instead of forming inside a hard shell underground or in a tree pod, cashews grow on the bottom of a fruit called the cashew apple. The cashew tree, scientifically known as Anacardium occidentale, produces large pear-shaped or bell-shaped fruits known as cashew apples. These fruits are actually swollen stems called pedicels rather than true fruits. They are edible, juicy and slightly sweet with a tart tropical flavor. However, the real prize of the tree, the cashew nut, hangs beneath the cashew apple, encased in a hard kidney-shaped shell. Unlike most nuts, cashews cannot be eaten straight from the tree because their shells contain urushiol, the same toxic compound found in poison ivy and poison oak. This substance can cause severe skin irritation and allergic reactions, which is why cashews must be carefully processed before they are safe to eat. The shell is roasted or steamed to break down the toxic oils, and then the nut inside is extracted and roasted again to enhance its flavor. Cashew apples, though less well known, are widely consumed in some parts of the world, particularly in Brazil, India, and parts of Africa. They are used to make juices, jams, chutneys, and even alcoholic beverages like cashew wine or fini, a traditional Indian spirit. However, because they are highly perishable, they are rarely exported. Cashews are valued not only for their delicious creamy taste, but also for their nutritional benefits. They are rich in healthy fats, protein, and essential minerals like magnesium and copper, making them a popular snack and ingredient in various cuisines around the world. So next time you enjoy a handful of cashews, remember, they took a long and careful journey from growing beneath a fruit to becoming the tasty, safe-to-eat snack we love today.
Watermelons are not only a delicious summer treat, but also one of the most hydrating fruits on the planet. A single watermelon is made up of about 92% water, which means that just one watermelon contains enough water to fill at least 8 glasses, the recommended daily intake for an average adult. This high water content makes watermelon an excellent choice for hydration, especially in hot weather. Eating watermelon helps replenish fluids and electrolytes, keeping the body cool and refreshed. Because of its natural sweetness, it also provides a delicious alternative to plain water while offering essential vitamins and minerals. Beyond hydration, watermelons are packed with nutrients like vitamin C, vitamin A, and antioxidants such as lycopene. Lycopene, which gives watermelon its red color, is a powerful antioxidant known for its potential benefits in heart health, reducing inflammation and protecting against sun damage. Despite being mostly water, watermelons are also a great source of fiber, which aids in digestion. They are low in calories, making them a guilt-free, refreshing snack. Some studies even suggest that the amino acid citrulline found in watermelon may help improve blood flow and reduce muscle soreness, making it a favorite among athletes. The next time you enjoy a juicy slice of watermelon, remember that you're not just satisfying your sweet tooth, you're also hydrating your body naturally. With a single watermelon containing enough water to meet your daily hydration needs, it's one of the tastiest and healthiest ways to stay refreshed.
It might seem logical to assume that peppers were named after their spicy taste, but in reality, they were named after black peppercorns, even though the two are completely unrelated. This naming confusion dates back to the early explorations of the 15th and 16th centuries, when European explorers first encountered chili peppers in the Americas. The famous Italian explorer Christopher Columbus is largely responsible for the mix-up. When he arrived in the New World, he was searching for a new route to India, which was known for its valuable spices, including black pepper, piper nigrum. Instead, he and his crew came across chili peppers, capsicum species, which the indigenous people had been cultivating and using for centuries. Because these chili peppers had a spicy kick, similar to the heat that black pepper provided, Columbus mistakenly named them peppers. Despite their similar names, chili peppers and black peppercorns are not related at all. Black pepper comes from the dried berries of the piper nigrum vine, native to India and Southeast Asia. It is widely used as a seasoning due to its sharp, pungent flavour. On the other hand, chili peppers belong to the capsicum genus, part of the nightshade family, and get their heat from capsaicin, a chemical compound that interacts with pain receptors in the mouth. Over time, the name pepper stuck to chili peppers, and even today we refer to a wide variety of mild and spicy peppers under this name, such as bell peppers, jalapenos, and habaneros. Meanwhile, black pepper remains one of the world's most common spices, completely separate from the fiery chilies it was mistaken for. So, the next time you sprinkle black pepper on your food, or take a bite of a spicy chili, remember, their names may be linked, but their origins and flavours couldn't be more different.
Honey is often referred to as a superfood, but what makes it truly remarkable is that it's the only food that contains all the essential substances needed to sustain life. This includes water, carbohydrates, amino acids, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and even antioxidants, all crucial for survival. Honey is primarily composed of natural sugars, fructose and glucose, making it an excellent energy source. Unlike refined sugar, honey also provides small amounts of essential nutrients such as B vitamins, calcium, magnesium, potassium and iron. Additionally, it contains enzymes and organic acids, which contribute to its unique health benefits. One of the most surprising facts about honey is that it contains essential amino acids, the building blocks of proteins that our bodies need for growth and repair. While not a high-protein food, the amino acids in honey support cell regeneration and metabolic processes. Honey is also rich in antioxidants, such as flavonoids and polyphenols, which help protect cells from damage and reduce inflammation. Honey is not only nutritious but also has natural antibacterial and antifungal properties. It contains hydrogen peroxide and has a low moisture content, making it inhospitable for bacteria and fungi. This is why honey never spoils. Jars of edible honey have been found in ancient Egyptian tombs, still safe to eat after thousands of years. Because honey provides energy, hydration, and essential nutrients, it has been used throughout history as a survival food. In extreme cases, people have reportedly lived off honey alone for extended periods due to its balanced nutritional profile. It's also a key component in emergency rations and medicinal treatments around the world. So, whether you enjoy honey in tea, on toast, or as a natural remedy, you're consuming one of nature's most complete and life-sustaining foods.
Deep in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, there exists a giant organism that defies imagination, a single honey fungus, Armillaria ostoyae, that is over 2,400 years old and covers an astonishing 3.5 square miles or 9 square kilometers. Known as the largest living organism on Earth, this massive underground network of fungi stretches across the forest floor, connecting with and feeding off trees. Although we typically think of mushrooms as small fungi that sprout from the ground, what we see is just the fruiting body, the equivalent of an apple on a tree. The real organism is a vast underground network of mycelium, a web-like structure that spreads beneath the soil, searching for nutrients. This particular honey fungus is estimated to weigh hundreds of tons, making it not just the largest living organism but also one of the oldest known living beings on the planet. Armillaria ostoyae is a parasitic fungus, meaning it survives by infecting and slowly killing trees. It spreads through the forest by sending out thread-like structures called rhizomorphs, which attach to tree roots and extract nutrients. Over centuries, this fungus has continued to expand, taking over a vast area while remaining mostly hidden beneath the forest floor. The only visible signs of its presence are clusters of golden brown mushrooms that appear at the base of infected trees during certain times of the year. Scientists estimate that this particular honey fungus began growing at least 2,400 years ago, meaning it was already thriving before the Roman Empire even existed. Some researchers believe parts of it could be even older, potentially over 8,000 years old. Its ability to endure for so long is due to its slow, steady expansion and resilience in the face of changing climates. While this fungus plays a role in breaking down dead wood and recycling nutrients, it is also considered a forest pathogen because it kills healthy trees. Despite this, it remains one of the most extraordinary natural wonders on Earth. Scientists continue to study it to learn more about fungal longevity, ecosystem interactions, and even potential medical applications. Next time you think of a giant living organism, don't picture a whale or a redwood tree. Think of a hidden fungal giant quietly growing beneath the forests of Oregon for thousands of years.
Worcestershire sauce is a rich, savoury condiment used in everything from marinades to Bloody Mary cocktails. But, you know, many people don't realise that one of its key ingredients is anchovies, small, oily fish that are left to ferment and dissolve into the sauce over time. This gives Worcestershire sauce its deep umami flavour, making it an essential ingredient in many dishes. The story of Worcestershire sauce dates back to the early 19th century in Worcester, England, where two chemists, John Lee and William Perrins, created it by accident. According to legend, an English nobleman who had travelled to India asked them to recreate a sauce he had enjoyed there. They mixed a batch of ingredients, but the initial result was too strong and unpleasant, so they left it in a barrel and forgot about it for months. When they rediscovered it later, they found that fermentation had transformed the flavours, making it rich, tangy and complex. Thus, Lear and Perrin's Worcestershire sauce was born and became an international sensation. The inclusion of anchovies in Worcestershire sauce was a stroke of genius. These small, oily fish are packed with umami, which is a savoury taste that enhances the overall flavour profile of the sauce. The anchovies are fermented along with other ingredients, breaking down into a rich, deeply flavourful component that is essential to the sauce's distinctive taste. The secret to Worcestershire sauce's unique taste lies in its fermentation process. Traditional recipes include anchovies, which provide umami and saltiness, vinegar, which helps break down the anchovies, molasses, tamarind, garlic, onions, and various spices, which add depth and balance. The anchovies are soaked in vinegar for up to 2 years, during which time they slowly break down and dissolve into the liquid. By the time the sauce is bottled, the fish have completely disintegrated, leaving behind no visible traces, just a deep, savoury flavour that enhances meats, soups and sauces. Now, let's dive into why Worcestershire sauce tastes so good. The key to Worcestershire sauce's popularity is its perfect balance of flavours, salty and savoury from the anchovies, tangy and sour from vinegar and tamarind, sweet from molasses and sugar, and spicy from garlic, onions and peppers. Now let's delve into the versatile uses and vegetarian options that this wonderful ingredient offers. From hearty stews to refreshing salads, the possibilities are, well, nearly endless. For our vegetarian friends, this ingredient can be a true game changer, offering both nutrition and flavour in abundance. Whether you're crafting a wholesome soup or a vibrant stir-fry, you'll find that it adapts beautifully to a wide array of dishes. So, why not experiment and discover new favorites? The culinary world is, after all, a vast playground waiting to be explored. This complex combination makes it an essential ingredient in dishes like Caesar salad dressing, barbecue marinades, burgers, and even cocktails like the Bloody Mary. Because Worcestershire sauce contains fish, it's not vegetarian or vegan, though some brands now offer anchovy-free versions for those who avoid animal products. If you follow a vegetarian diet, be sure to check the label. Few people realise that this beloved sauce has such a long and fascinating history, and even fewer know that it's made with fermented fish. So next time you splash Worcestershire sauce on your steak or mix it into a dish, you can appreciate the centuries-old process that gives it its one-of-a-kind flavour.
Peaches and nectarines are often thought of as two distinct fruits, but in reality they are essentially the same fruit with just one key difference: the fuzz. While peaches have a soft, velvety skin, nectarines are smooth with no fuzz at all. This difference is due to a genetic mutation, not a separate species. So, while they may look and feel different on the outside, both fruits belong to the same Prunus persica species and share the same flavour and nutritional content. The absence of fuzz on nectarines is caused by a single gene mutation. Peaches and nectarines come from the same tree variety, and the only genetic difference between the two is the presence or absence of a gene that produces the fuzzy texture on the skin. In nectarines, this gene is recessive, meaning if both parent trees carry the non-fuzzy gene, the resulting fruit will be smooth-skinned. Interestingly, this gene mutation is not harmful or even rare. In fact, nectarines are simply peaches that have experienced this genetic variation, which can happen in any given peach tree. Sometimes a single peach tree might produce both peaches and nectarines at the same time, depending on the genetic makeup of its branches. Despite their skin differences, peaches and nectarines taste nearly identical, with both fruits offering the same balance of sweet, tangy flavour and a juicy, fleshy texture. Nutritionally, both are rich in vitamins A and C, dietary fibre and antioxidants, making them healthy, refreshing fruits. Both also have a pit in the centre, with the flesh surrounding it being soft and sweet. While the flavour is virtually the same, the difference in texture due to the skin may affect how people use them in cooking or baking. Nectarines, with their smooth skin, are often preferred for dishes where you want a clean, polished look, such as in fruit salads or tarts. Peaches, on the other hand, may be more popular for their classic fuzzy texture in pies, jams and sauces, although the choice often comes down to personal preference. Both fruits originated in China, where they have been cultivated for over 2,000 years. They then spread to Europe and beyond, gaining popularity in many cultures for their juicy sweetness. Peaches were first introduced to the United States by European settlers, and nectarines gradually emerged as a variation. In summary, the only real difference between peaches and nectarines is the presence of fuzz on the skin. They're both sweet, juicy stone fruits that belong to the same botanical family and share a rich historical legacy. Whether you prefer the fuzzy peach or the smooth-skinned nectarine, you're enjoying two sides of the same delicious coin.
The invention of instant ramen, a revolution in convenience. Instant ramen noodles were invented in 1958 by Momofuku Ando, a Taiwanese-Japanese inventor and entrepreneur. Ando, who was the founder of the Nissin Food Products Company, created the concept of instant noodles in response to the post-World War II food crisis in Japan. At that time, Japan faced significant food shortages and people were struggling with hunger. Ando's innovation came from his desire to provide a cheap, nutritious and convenient meal that could be easily prepared and consumed by families across the country. The first ever instant ramen, named chicken ramen, was introduced in Japan in 1958. Ando's breakthrough was the development of a method to pre-cook and then dehydrate the noodles, allowing them to be quickly rehydrated by simply adding boiling water. The process not only made noodles quick and easy to prepare, but also preserved their taste and texture after being packaged. Chicken ramen quickly became popular as a convenient, affordable, and long-lasting food product. While instant ramen is now a staple food for millions worldwide, it was initially considered a luxury item in Japan when it first debuted. At the time, the idea of packaged, ready-to-eat food was still novel, and the production of ramen involved a fairly labour-intensive process. As a result, it was sold at a higher price than many traditional foods, which made it a luxury for the average consumer. Only those with disposable income could afford the instant meal. Over time, as production techniques improved and demand grew, the cost of instant ramen decreased. It became more affordable and widely accessible, especially during the 1960s and 1970s when the ramen industry boomed globally. The development of new flavors, such as beef, pork and seafood, helped it gain popularity in different markets, particularly in the United States and Southeast Asia. Today, instant ramen noodles are one of the most consumed and affordable foods worldwide. Ramen has evolved beyond its humble beginnings. Instant ramen has now become iconic, with entire cultures developing around it, such as in Japan's ramen shops, where a bowl of ramen is an art form. Furthermore, instant ramen noodles have become a budget-friendly meal for university students, busy professionals, and anyone in need of a quick and satisfying meal. The low price and ease of preparation have made ramen an indispensable part of modern food culture. Ando's invention of instant ramen fundamentally changed the food industry and shaped the global instant noodle market. Since then, it has remained a global phenomenon. In 1971, Nissin expanded its influence with the invention of cup noodles, a ready-to-eat version of instant ramen in a cup, which made the product even more portable. Instant ramen's convenience, affordability, and versatility have made it a food product beloved by billions. In summary, instant ramen noodles were invented in 1958 by Momofuku Ando as a response to the food scarcity in post-war Japan, and they were initially considered a luxury item. Over time, the invention revolutionized food preparation, becoming an affordable and essential meal for millions across the globe. The instant noodle industry is a testament to how a simple idea can have a lasting impact on the world's food systems.
While Mount Everest is the highest mountain above sea level, it's not actually the tallest mountain in the world when measured from base to peak. That title belongs to Mauna Kea, a massive volcanic mountain in Hawaii. While Everest stands at 29,032 feet, or 8,849 meters above sea level, Mauna Kea measures a staggering 33,500 feet, or 10,210 meters, from its base on the ocean floor to its summit, making it the tallest mountain on Earth by total height. Mount Everest is recognized as the highest mountain because its summit reaches the highest point above sea level. Since Mauna Kea's base starts underwater in the Pacific Ocean, much of its height is hidden beneath the surface. This difference in measurement is why Everest is famous as the highest peak in the world, even though Mauna Kea is technically taller when measured from its true base. Mauna Kea's geological significance. Mauna Kea is a dormant volcano that last erupted about 4,000 to 6,000 years ago. It's part of the Hawaiian island chain, which was formed by volcanic activity over millions of years. Mauna Kea's summit is home to some of the world's most advanced astronomical observatories, taking advantage of its high elevation and clear skies for space exploration. Comparing the two giants, Mount Everest, 29,032 feet, or 8,849 meters above sea level, Mauna Kea, 33,500 feet, or 10,210 meters from base to peak, but only 13,796 feet, or 4,207 meters above sea level. Even though Everest remains the ultimate challenge for climbers, Mauna Kea technically holds the record as the tallest mountain when measured in its entirety. This fun fact flips the common belief that Everest is the world's tallest peak, proving that sometimes the biggest things are hiding beneath the surface.
Lake Victoria, located in East Africa, holds the title of the largest tropical lake in the world and the second largest freshwater lake by surface area, after Lake Superior in North America. Spanning approximately 68,800 square kilometers, it stretches across 3 countries, Tanzania, Uganda and Kenya. This massive body of water plays a crucial role in the environment, economy and culture of the region. Lake Victoria is part of the African Great Lakes system and is situated in a tropical climate, meaning it is located near the equator and experiences warm temperatures year-round. Despite its vast surface area, it is relatively shallow, with an average depth of 40 meters and a maximum depth of 83 meters. The lake is primarily fed by rainfall and thousands of small streams and rivers, the most significant being the Kagera River. Lake Victoria is also the source of the White Nile, one of the main tributaries of the Nile River, which flows northward through Africa, playing a crucial role in the history and civilizations of Egypt and Sudan. The lake is home to a rich ecosystem, including over 500 species of fish, with the most famous being the Nile perch and tilapia, which are vital for local fisheries. However, the introduction of Nile perch in the 1950s caused significant disruptions, leading to the decline and extinction of many native fish species. Lake Victoria also supports diverse wildlife, including hippos, crocodiles and numerous bird species such as the African fish eagle and kingfishers. Surrounding wetlands and forests contribute to the lake's biodiversity and provide an essential habitat for various animals. Lake Victoria is a lifeline for the millions of people living along its shores. It supports fishing industries, providing employment and food for local communities. Additionally, it serves as an important route for transportation and trade between Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania. The lake has also played a significant role in African history and culture, being named after Queen Victoria by British explorer John Hanning Speke in 1858 during his search for the source of the Nile. However, long before European exploration, it was home to ancient African civilizations, and its shores are still rich with cultural heritage today. Despite its importance, Lake Victoria faces several environmental threats, including pollution from industrial waste, agriculture and human settlements, overfishing leading to declining fish populations and economic struggles for local fishermen, invasive species such as water hyacinth, which chokes waterways, disrupts fishing and depletes oxygen levels in the water, climate change, affecting rainfall patterns and water levels, leading to periodic flooding and droughts. Efforts are being made by governments, conservationists and international organizations to protect and restore Lake Victoria's health and biodiversity. Lake Victoria remains one of Africa's greatest natural treasures, providing water, food and livelihoods to millions while holding ecological and historical significance. Despite the challenges it faces, its vast size, biodiversity and role in the Nile River system make it a truly remarkable tropical lake and an essential part of the African continent.
In the icy white landscape of Antarctica, there is a shocking sight, a blood-red waterfall flowing down the side of a glacier. This eerie phenomenon, known as blood falls, is located in the McMurdo Dry Valleys and gets its deep red colour from iron oxidation. The water emerging from the glacier contains high concentrations of iron, and when it comes into contact with oxygen, the iron rusts, turning the water a striking shade of red. The result is a waterfall that looks like something straight out of a horror movie, but it is actually a fascinating natural occurrence. The source of blood falls is a subglacial lake that has been trapped under the Taylor Glacier for millions of years. This lake is completely cut off from sunlight and oxygen, creating an extreme environment with high salt content and unusual microbial life. Scientists have studied the microorganisms in this lake to better understand how life might exist in harsh alien environments, such as beneath the ice on Mars or Jupiter's moon Europa. The ability of these microbes to survive without sunlight in freezing temperatures and salty conditions makes Bloodfalls an important site for astrobiology research. Bloodfalls is a perfect example of how even the most remote and hostile places on Earth can hold incredible scientific discoveries. What looks like a waterfall of blood is actually a window into an ancient hidden ecosystem, providing valuable insights into both our planet's past and the potential for life beyond Earth. It's a haunting yet mesmerizing reminder of nature's ability to surprise us in the most unexpected ways.
It's hard to imagine, but the Sahara Desert, the world's largest hot desert, was once a lush green paradise filled with vast lakes, rivers and forests around 5,000 to 10,000 years ago, during a period known as the African Humid Period. The Sahara was a completely different landscape. Instead of endless dunes, it was home to savannas, wetlands and even human settlements where people thrived with abundant food and water. This drastic transformation was caused by natural climate shifts, driven by changes in Earth's orbit and monsoon patterns that brought heavy rainfall to the region. Evidence of this green past can be seen in fossils, ancient rock art and buried riverbeds discovered across the desert. Archaeologists have found prehistoric cave paintings depicting hippos, elephants and even people swimming, proving that the Sahara once supported a diverse ecosystem. Large lakes such as the massive Lake Mega Chad once covered areas that are now dry, sandy plains. However, around 5,000 years ago, the monsoons shifted again, causing the rains to disappear and the land to dry up, gradually turning the Sahara into the vast desert we see today. This cycle of wet and dry periods in the Sahara has happened multiple times over millions of years, and some scientists believe that it could turn green again in the distant future. Understanding this transformation helps researchers study climate change, desertification and ancient human migration patterns. The Sahara's hidden past as a lush, thriving landscape serves as a reminder of how dramatically Earth's climate can change over time and how it could change again in the future.
Canada is the second largest country in the world by land area, covering an astonishing 10 million square kilometers, or about 3.85 million square miles. However, despite its vast size, it has a relatively small population, ranking 38th in the world with about 40 million people. This means that Canada has one of the lowest population densities of any country, with just around 4 people per square kilometer. In contrast, countries much smaller in land area, such as India or Indonesia, have hundreds of millions more people living within their borders. One of the main reasons for Canada's low population density is its harsh climate and geography. Much of the country, especially in the north, is covered in rugged mountains, dense forests, and vast tundra, making it difficult for large populations to settle. Most of Canada's population is concentrated in the southern regions, particularly along the US-Canada border, where the climate is milder and more suitable for agriculture, industry, and infrastructure. Major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal are home to millions of people, while vast areas of the country remain sparsely populated or completely uninhabited. Despite its small population, Canada is a global economic power with a high standard of living, abundant natural resources, and a strong economy. It is known for its diverse and multicultural society, as immigration plays a key role in its population growth. The government actively encourages immigration to help support the workforce and economy, as birth rates remain relatively low. Canada's unique combination of massive land area and small population makes it a country of incredible natural beauty, with pristine wilderness, stunning landscapes, and abundant wildlife. While much of the land remains untouched, Canada's role as a welcoming, prosperous, and environmentally rich nation continues to shape its global identity.
Australia is home to more than 10,000 beaches. making it one of the most beach-rich countries in the world. With a coastline stretching over 25,000 kilometers, it would take you over 27 years to visit a new beach every single day. From the famous white sands of Whitehaven Beach in the Whitsundays to the world-class surfing waves of Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia offers an incredible variety of coastal landscapes. Whether you prefer calm, crystal-clear lagoons, rugged cliffs, or golden surf beaches, Australia has something for every beach lover. The country's massive number of beaches is due to its geography and climate. As an island continent, Australia is surrounded by the Indian, Pacific, and Southern Oceans, creating endless coastlines with diverse ecosystems. The tropical Great Barrier Reef region is famous for its coral-filled beaches and vibrant marine life, while the wild southern coasts offer dramatic rock formations and cold, powerful waves. Some of the most isolated and pristine beaches can be found in Western Australia, where white sand meets turquoise waters in places like Turquoise Bay and Lucky Bay. Australian beaches aren't just beautiful, they're also a huge part of the country's culture and lifestyle. Australians are known for their love of the outdoors, and beach activities like surfing, swimming, snorkeling and sunbathing are a big part of daily life. Many of the world's best surfers come from Australia, and iconic beachside cities like Sydney and Gold Coast attract millions of visitors each year. The beach is more than just a place to relax. It's central to Australian identity, tourism and recreation. With so many beaches to choose from, it's no surprise that Australia is considered a paradise for beach lovers. Whether you're looking for a bustling, vibrant beach with cafes and crowds, or a remote stretch of sand where you won't see another person for miles, Australia's 10,000+ beaches offer an endless array of coastal beauty and adventure.
The Amazon River, the largest river in the world by volume, releases an astonishing amount of water into the Atlantic Ocean every day. So much that it could supply New York City with fresh water for 9 years. This massive flow, estimated at 209,000 cubic meters per second, or 7.4 million cubic feet per second, makes the Amazon a crucial part of Earth's water cycle and climate system. In comparison, the Amazon discharges more water than the next 7 largest rivers in the world combined, highlighting its immense scale and influence. This enormous water output comes from the Amazon's huge drainage basin, which spans across 9 South American countries and covers around 7 million square kilometers, or 2.7 million square miles. The river is fed by thousands of tributaries, many of which are major rivers themselves. The Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the earth, plays a critical role in maintaining this water supply by generating rainfall through evapotranspiration, where water from trees and plants is released into the atmosphere and falls back as rain. This constant cycle ensures that the river remains one of the most powerful on the planet. The Amazon's immense discharge has a significant impact on the Atlantic Ocean. The sheer volume of fresh water flowing into the ocean creates a low salinity zone that extends hundreds of miles offshore, affecting ocean currents, marine ecosystems, and even weather patterns. Scientists have observed that the freshwater plume from the Amazon can alter hurricane activity as the influx of warm fresh water changes sea surface temperatures. The river's nutrient-rich waters also help sustain fisheries and marine life far beyond the South American coast. Beyond its hydrological importance, the Amazon River is home to incredible biodiversity, including unique species like the Amazon River dolphin piranhas and giant otters. Indigenous communities have lived along its banks for thousands of years, relying on its waters for food transportation and cultural traditions. However, deforestation, climate change and human activities pose growing threats to the Amazon's delicate ecosystem. Preserving this vital river is crucial not only for South America, but for the entire planet, as its waters help regulate climate, support biodiversity, and provide life-sustaining resources on a scale unmatched by any other river in the world.
The Arctic Ocean is the smallest and shallowest of the world's 5 oceans, covering an area of approximately 5.4 million square miles, or 14 million square kilometers. Despite its size, it plays a critical role in regulating Earth's climate and supporting unique ecosystems. Located in the northernmost region of the planet, the Arctic Ocean is surrounded by North America, Europe and Asia, with much of its surface covered by sea ice, especially during the winter months. This ice plays a crucial role in reflecting sunlight, helping to regulate global temperatures. Though it is the smallest ocean, the Arctic is one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Its waters are cold year-round, with temperatures often dropping below freezing due to its high salinity and low sunlight exposure. Unlike larger oceans, much of the Arctic Ocean is permanently or seasonally covered with ice, which can be several meters thick. However, in recent decades, due to climate change, Arctic ice has been melting at an alarming rate, leading to rising sea levels and shifts in global weather patterns. Scientists monitor the Arctic closely, as it serves as a climate indicator for the rest of the world. Despite its harsh conditions, the Arctic Ocean is home to a rich variety of wildlife, including polar bears, walruses, narwhals and seals, as well as unique fish species adapted to the freezing temperatures. Beneath its icy surface, the ocean supports thriving marine ecosystems with cold water corals and microscopic organisms that form the base of the Arctic food chain. Indigenous communities such as the Inuit have lived in the Arctic region for thousands of years, relying on the ocean for hunting, fishing and cultural traditions. The Arctic Ocean is also gaining attention for its natural resources and shipping routes. As the ice melts, new navigable waterways like the Northern Sea Route are emerging, allowing for shorter trade routes between Asia, Europe and North America. Additionally, the Arctic is believed to hold vast reserves of oil and natural gas, sparking interest in exploration and resource extraction. However, these developments raise concerns about environmental impact and geopolitical tensions between Arctic nations. Though it may be the smallest ocean, the Arctic is one of the most important and fragile ecosystems on Earth. Its future is closely tied to global climate change, and its protection remains a priority for scientists, conservationists, and governments worldwide.
Italy has more volcanoes than any other country in Europe, making it one of the most geologically active regions on the continent. The country sits on the boundary of the Eurasian and African tectonic plates, a highly active zone that has shaped its landscape with numerous volcanoes, earthquakes, and geothermal activity. Italy is home to some of the world's most famous volcanoes, including Mount Etna, Mount Vesuvius, and Stromboli, all of which are still active today. One of the most well-known volcanoes in Italy is Mount Vesuvius, infamous for its catastrophic eruption in 79 AD, which buried the cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum under layers of ash and pumice. Today, Vesuvius remains one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world, as it is located near Naples, a densely populated area. Scientists closely monitor the volcano for signs of activity to prevent another disaster. Another major Italian volcano is Mount Etna, located on the island of Sicily. It is Europe's highest and most active volcano, with near-continuous eruptions that have been recorded for thousands of years. Etna's frequent lava flows and ash clouds can disrupt nearby towns and air travel, but its fertile volcanic soil makes the surrounding region ideal for vineyards and agriculture. Italy is also home to Stromboli, often called the lighthouse of the Mediterranean due to its constant eruptions that light up the night sky. This small volcanic island in the Aeolian Islands experiences mild but frequent eruptions, making it one of the most active volcanoes in the world. Its steady volcanic activity has fascinated scientists and tourists alike, with many visitors hiking up the volcano to witness its fiery explosions firsthand. Beyond these famous giants, Italy has several other volcanic areas, including the Campi Flegrei, a massive supervolcano near Naples with the potential for a massive eruption. The region is known for its geothermal activity, including boiling mud pools, sulfur vents and hot springs. Italy's volcanoes have shaped its history, culture and landscape, providing both destruction and fertility. While eruptions have caused devastation, the rich volcanic soil has also supported agriculture, making regions like Sicily and Campania famous for wine, olives, and citrus fruits. Due to its volcanic activity and geological significance, Italy remains one of the most important locations for volcanology research, with ongoing monitoring to predict and prepare for future eruptions.
The Arctic Ocean is the smallest and shallowest of the world's 5 oceans, covering an area of approximately 5.4 million square miles, or 14 million square kilometers. Despite its size, it plays a critical role in regulating Earth's climate and supporting unique ecosystems. Located in the northernmost region of the planet, the Arctic Ocean is surrounded by North America, Europe and Asia, with much of its surface covered by sea ice, especially during the winter months. This ice plays a crucial role in reflecting sunlight, helping to regulate global temperatures. Though it is the smallest ocean, the Arctic is one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Its waters are cold year-round, with temperatures often dropping below freezing due to its high salinity and low sunlight exposure. Unlike larger oceans, much of the Arctic Ocean is permanently or seasonally covered with ice, which can be several meters thick. However, in recent decades, due to climate change, Arctic ice has been melting at an alarming rate, leading to rising sea levels and shifts in global weather patterns. Scientists monitor the Arctic closely, as it serves as a climate indicator for the rest of the world. Despite its harsh conditions, the Arctic Ocean is home to a rich variety of wildlife, including polar bears, walruses, narwhals and seals, as well as unique fish species adapted to the freezing temperatures. Beneath its icy surface, the ocean supports thriving marine ecosystems with cold water corals and microscopic organisms that form the base of the Arctic food chain. Indigenous communities such as the Inuit have lived in the Arctic region for thousands of years, relying on the ocean for hunting, fishing and cultural traditions. The Arctic Ocean is also gaining attention for its natural resources and shipping routes. As the ice melts, new navigable waterways like the Northern Sea Route are emerging, allowing for shorter trade routes between Asia, Europe and North America. Additionally, the Arctic is believed to hold vast reserves of oil and natural gas, sparking interest in exploration and resource extraction. However, these developments raise concerns about environmental impact and geopolitical tensions between Arctic nations. Though it may be the smallest ocean, the Arctic is one of the most important and fragile ecosystems on Earth. Its future is closely tied to global climate change, and its protection remains a priority for scientists, conservationists, and governments worldwide.
Pikachu's name originates from the Japanese onomatopoeic words pika, pika, and chu, chiyu, which perfectly capture the essence of the beloved Pokémon. The word pika refers to a sparkling or crackling sound often associated with electricity, like the static crackle of lightning. Meanwhile, chu mimics the high-pitched squeak of a mouse. Together, these sounds create a name that not only represents Pikachu's signature electric abilities, but also reflects its small, mouse-like appearance. The choice of Pika aligns with Pikachu's status as an electric-type Pokémon, reinforcing its power to generate and discharge electricity in battle. The crackling sound evokes the imagery of flashing lightning bolts and the zapping energy Pikachu unleashes with its signature moves like Thunderbolt. On the other hand, Chu complements its rodent-like design, resembling the squeaky noises real mice make. This clever combination makes Pikachu's name both descriptive and endearing, contributing to its widespread recognition. Beyond the linguistic appeal, Pikachu's name plays a crucial role in branding and cultural impact. It is easy to pronounce, catchy and instantly memorable, which has helped Pikachu become one of the most recognizable Pokémon worldwide. The name embodies the character's charm and energy, making it appealing to both children and adults. Over the years, the simple yet effective wordplay behind Pikachu's name has reinforced its status as the face of the Pokémon franchise, proving that even a name can hold the power of sparking joy.
While James Bond is often associated with the famous phrase, shaken, not stirred, in reference to his vodka martini, his true favourite drink is actually champagne. Throughout Ian Fleming's original novels and the James Bond film franchise, Bond is frequently seen enjoying champagne far more often than martinis. In fact, he drinks champagne in nearly every one of his adventures, making it his most consumed alcoholic beverage. Ian Fleming's novels provide clear evidence of Bond's preference. The secret agent often orders champagne with meals, particularly when dining with a romantic partner. Brands like Dom Perignon, Bollinger and Taitinger are among his go-to choices, reflecting his refined taste and appreciation for luxury. This aligns with his character, a sophisticated and cultured spy who values the finer things in life. In contrast, while he does drink martinis, they are often ordered as a quick, strong drink rather than a preferred indulgence. The Bond films reinforce this preference, as champagne frequently appears in key scenes, often accompanying a seduction or celebration. One of the most notable champagne moments comes in Goldfinger, where Sean Connery's Bond critiques a bottle of Dom Perignon, stating that drinking it at the wrong temperature is as bad as listening to the Beatles without earmuffs. Later, in Roger Moore's era, Bollinger became the official Bond champagne, a tradition that continued in subsequent films, including those starring Daniel Craig. Bond's love for champagne highlights his elegance and appreciation for quality, while the vodka martini remains his most famous drink. Due to its association with his cool and calculated demeanour, champagne better represents his overall lifestyle, one of class, charm and indulgence.
The iconic Hollywood sign, now a global symbol of the entertainment industry, originally read Hollywoodland when it was first erected in 1923. Unlike today, when it represents the glitz and glamour of the film world, the sign was initially an advertisement for a real estate development in the Hollywood Hills. The Los Angeles Times publisher Harry Chandler was among the investors behind the project, which aimed to promote an upscale housing community. The massive letters, each standing about 50 feet tall, were built using wood and sheet metal and were illuminated with thousands of light bulbs to attract attention. The original Hollywoodland sign was never meant to be permanent. It was constructed as a temporary structure, expected to last only about a year and a half. However, as Hollywood became the heart of the burgeoning film industry, the sign took on a new meaning, evolving into a symbol of the entertainment capital of the world. By the late 1940s, the sign had fallen into disrepair, and the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce decided to remove the last four letters, shortening it to Hollywood and transforming it into a lasting emblem of the film industry. Over the years, the Hollywood sign has undergone multiple restorations to maintain its iconic status. In 1978, a major restoration project, funded in part by celebrities like Hugh Hefner and Alice Cooper, replaced the old, deteriorating letters with a more durable steel version. Today, the sign is one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, drawing millions of tourists and symbolizing the dreams and aspirations of countless actors, filmmakers, and creatives who come to Hollywood in search of success. Though its origins lie in real estate, the Hollywood sign has transcended its original purpose, becoming an enduring icon of cinema and stardom.
Movie trailers, now a staple of the cinematic experience, were originally shown after a film, not before. The first ever movie trailer is believed to have been shown in 1913 by the Marcus Loew Theatres, promoting an upcoming Broadway musical called The Pleasure Seekers. Instead of appearing before the main feature as they do today, it played at the end of the movie, hence the name trailer, since it trailed the film. The concept quickly caught on and studios began producing their own trailers to promote upcoming films. However, exhibitors soon realized that playing trailers after a movie wasn't very effective. Many audiences simply left the theater once the main feature ended. By the late 1910s and early 1920s, theaters started showing trailers before the movie to ensure maximum audience engagement. This shift led to the modern format, where trailers are shown before the film begins, building anticipation and excitement. Over time, trailers evolved from simple, text-heavy advertisements into sophisticated mini-movies carefully crafted to entice audiences. The 1960s and 70s saw the rise of creative and dramatic trailer editing, pioneered by figures like Stanley Kubrick and Alfred Hitchcock, while the 1990s and 2000s ushered in fast-paced, high-energy cuts with booming voiceovers and orchestral music. Today, trailers are an essential marketing tool, generating massive online buzz and even premiering as major events before blockbusters. Despite their changed placement, the name trailer remains a quirky linguistic remnant from the early days of cinema. What started as a simple afterthought has become a powerful force in movie promotion, shaping audience expectations and influencing box office success worldwide.
The M in M&M's stands for Mars and Murray, the two businessmen behind the creation of the famous candy. Forrest Mars Sr., the son of the founder of Mars Inc., and Bruce Murray, the son of Hershey's president William Murray, partnered in the early 1940s to develop a new kind of candy-coated chocolate. Their goal was to create a product that wouldn't melt easily, making it ideal for soldiers during World War II. Forrest Mars had the idea after seeing soldiers in Spain eating British-made Smarties, which had a similar sugar shell that prevented chocolate from melting in warm conditions. Recognizing the potential, he returned to the United States and approached Bruce Murray for a partnership. Since Hershey's had a stronghold on the American chocolate supply and controlled much of the country's cocoa, Murray's involvement ensured that Mars could secure the necessary ingredients for mass production. In 1941, the first batch of M&Ms was produced in a factory in Newark, New Jersey. The candies were initially sold exclusively to the US military, where they became an instant hit with soldiers. After the war, they were introduced to the public and quickly grew in popularity. The distinctive M imprint was added in 1950 to differentiate M&Ms from imitators, and the brand continued to expand with new colours, flavours and varieties. Today, M&Ms are one of the best-selling candies in the world. Available in over 100 countries, while few people may realise it, the name M&Ms is a lasting tribute to the collaboration between Mars and Murray, a partnership that led to one of the most iconic and beloved confections in history.
Monopoly, one of the world's most famous board games, was originally designed not to celebrate capitalism, but to criticise it. The game was first created in 1903 by Elizabeth McGee, a writer and game designer who wanted to illustrate the dangers of monopolies and unchecked capitalism. She called her invention the landlord's game, and it featured two sets of rules, one that rewarded wealth accumulation, much like the modern monopoly, and another that promoted wealth sharing, meant to highlight the benefits of a more egalitarian economic system. Maggie was inspired by the ideas of economist Henry George, who argued that monopolies on land ownership led to wealth inequality and economic oppression. Her game demonstrated how landlords could exploit tenants, gradually driving other players into poverty while one person amassed all the wealth. By playing, participants would experience firsthand how monopolies crushed competition and concentrated power into the hands of a few. She hoped the game would educate people and push them toward anti-monopolist reforms. However, Maggie's vision was largely lost when the game was later adapted and commercialised. In the 1930s, a man named Charles Darrow took a version of the landlord's game, modified it, and sold it to Parker Brothers as his own invention. The company eventually bought the rights from Maggie for just $500, but marketed Monopoly as a celebration of wealth and business success rather than a warning against corporate greed. Ironically, Monopoly became a worldwide hit, embraced as a game where players compete to bankrupt each other rather than learn about the perils of economic inequality. Over the years, it has become a symbol of capitalism itself, complete with real estate speculation, ruthless competition, and financial dominance. Though its original purpose was lost in the mainstream, Monopoly remains a fascinating example of how an educational tool about economic injustice was transformed into one of the most popular board games in history.
Before becoming the tech giant we know today, Google was originally called Backrub when it was first developed in 1996. The name came from the search engine's unique ability to analyze backlinks, the links between web pages, to determine their importance and relevance in search results. Created by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, two PhD students at Stanford University, Backrub was designed to rank web pages based on how many other pages linked to them, a method that set it apart from traditional search engines of the time. Backrub operated on Stanford's servers, but as it grew, it consumed too much bandwidth, forcing Page and Brin to find a more scalable solution. By 1997, they decided to rename their project. The new name, Google, was a play on the mathematical term Google. which represents the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. This name reflected their ambitious goal of organizing vast amounts of information on the internet. With the new name and a powerful algorithm, Google quickly outperformed existing search engines like AltaVista and Yahoo. In 1998, Page and Brin officially launched Google Inc., and within a few years, it became the dominant search engine worldwide. Though Backrub was short-lived, its core principle, ranking websites based on links, became the foundation of Google's revolutionary PageRank algorithm, which remains a crucial part of search engine optimization, or SEO, today. While the name Backrub might have sounded odd for a tech company, it highlights Google's origins as a research project focused on understanding the web's structure. Thankfully, the switch to Google helped cement its identity as a global powerhouse in internet search, shaping the digital world as we know it.
One of the most intriguing mysteries surrounding Walt Disney is that his last written words were reportedly Kurt Russell. Before his death in 1966, Disney was battling lung cancer and spending much of his time in the hospital. During his final days, he wrote down a few notes on a piece of paper, and among them were the words Kurt Russell. At the time, Russell was a young actor who had just signed a long-term contract with the Walt Disney Company, though he had yet to become a household name. The meaning behind these final words remains unclear, as Disney never had the chance to explain them. Some speculate that Disney saw great potential in the young actor and was planning major roles for him in future films. Others believe it was simply a reminder for an upcoming project or contract discussion. Regardless of the reason, it remains a fascinating and somewhat eerie detail of Disney's final moments. Kurt Russell himself has acknowledged the story in interviews, confirming that Disney executives found the note after Walt's passing. He has expressed both surprise and honor at the idea that he was among Disney's last thoughts. Following Disney's death, Russell went on to become one of the company's most successful live-action stars, appearing in films like The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes in 1969 and The Strongest Man in the World in 1975. His career later expanded into major Hollywood roles, solidifying him as a versatile and enduring actor. Though the true meaning behind Walt Disney's last written words may never be fully understood, it adds an air of mystery to his legacy. Whether he was simply jotting down a name or envisioning the future of Disney's films, the note has become a legendary piece of Hollywood trivia, linking the visionary creator to one of his rising stars in an unforgettable way.
The iconic character of Darth Vader in Star Wars was brought to life by two actors, David Prowse, who provided the physical presence, and James Earl Jones, who gave the Sith Lord his deep, menacing voice. This unique combination helped create one of the most memorable villains in cinematic history. David Prowse, a British bodybuilder and actor, was cast by George Lucas in 1976 to portray Darth Vader on screen. Standing at 6 feet 6 inches, Prowse had the imposing stature needed to make the character physically intimidating. However, while filming Star Wars: A New Hope, in 1977, Prowse delivered all of Vader's lines in his natural West Country English accent, which some on set found unsuitable for the villainous role. The crew even nicknamed him Darth Farmer due to his softer-sounding voice. Unbeknownst to Prowse at the time, Lucas had always planned to dub over his voice in post-production. He chose James Earl Jones, an American actor with a deep, commanding voice, to bring Vader's dialogue to life. Jones's powerful delivery gave Vader his chilling and authoritative presence, making lines like "I find your lack of faith disturbing" instantly legendary. Despite his significant contribution, Jones initially went uncredited in A New Hope, believing his role was minor compared to Prowse's physical performance. This dual performance led to some behind-the-scenes controversy. Prowse was reportedly frustrated that he was never informed about being replaced as Vader's voice, and felt sidelined by Lucasfilm over the years, while Jones later fully embraced his role, reprising Vader's voice in multiple Star Wars projects. Together, Prowse's commanding physique and Jones's booming voice created one of the most feared and iconic villains in film history.
Michael Jordan is widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but his financial success off the court has been even more staggering. While he earned a significant amount during his NBA career, Jordan has made far more money from his Nike endorsements, particularly through his legendary Air Jordan sneaker line. During his 15 seasons in the NBA, Jordan's total salary amounted to around $90 million, with the majority of his earnings coming in his final 2 seasons with the Chicago Bulls. However, his partnership with Nike, which began in 1984, has generated billions. Initially, Nike was not the dominant sportswear brand it is today, but Jordan's signing changed everything. His first deal with Nike was worth $500,000 per year, plus royalties, a bold move at the time for a rookie. The Air Jordan brand exploded in popularity, redefining the sneaker industry and turning Jordan into a global icon. Over the decades, the Jordan brand evolved into its own division within Nike, with MJ receiving a percentage of every sale. Reports estimate that Jordan earns around $150 to $200 million per year from Nike royalties alone, far more than he ever made as a player. To date, his total earnings from Nike exceed $1.5 billion. This massive financial success has helped Jordan become the first billionaire athlete with investments in sports franchises, including ownership of the Charlotte Hornets, which he later sold for a significant profit. His Nike deal is considered one of the most successful athlete-brand partnerships in history, proving that Jordan's legacy extends far beyond basketball.
The longest recorded case of hiccups lasted an astonishing 68 years. This unusual and unfortunate record belongs to Charles Osborne, an American man who began hiccuping in 1922 and continued without relief until 1990. Osborne's hiccups reportedly began after a fall while weighing a hog on his farm in Iowa. Doctors speculated that the accident may have damaged a part of his brain that controls the diaphragm, leading to the uncontrollable spasms that define hiccups. Despite his condition, Osborne managed to live a relatively normal life, getting married and having children. During the first few decades of his condition, Osborne experienced hiccups at an estimated rate of 40 times per minute. Over the years, this rate slowed to about 20 hiccups per minute, but they never completely ceased until a year before his death in 1991. It is estimated that over his lifetime, he hiccuped more than 430 million times. Medical professionals attempted various treatments, but none were successful in curing his persistent hiccups. Osborne's case remains one of the most baffling medical mysteries related to the involuntary diaphragm contractions known as hiccups. While most cases of hiccups resolve on their own, or with simple remedies, Osborne's condition highlights the rare instances where they can persist for an extended period. His story has been recognized in the Guinness World Records, and continues to be cited as an example of the extraordinary endurance of the human body in the face of a seemingly minor yet persistent ailment.
Bubble wrap, now widely recognized as a protective packaging material, was originally invented as wallpaper. In 1957, engineers Alfred Fielding and Mark Chavans set out to create a unique, textured wallpaper by sealing 2 shower curtains together, trapping air bubbles between them. Their idea was to develop a wall covering that had a modern, padded look, appealing to the growing trend of futuristic interior design during that time. However, their invention did not catch on as wallpaper, as it was not particularly practical or aesthetically pleasing for home decor. Realizing that their product was not suitable for its original purpose, Fielding and Chavan explored alternative uses. It wasn't until 1960 that they founded Sealed Air Corporation and discovered bubble wrap's true potential as a protective packaging material. Around the same time, IBM had just launched its 1401 computer, and the company needed a way to safely ship its delicate electronic components. Bubble wrap turned out to be the perfect solution, providing cushioning and protection during transportation. Since then, bubble wrap has become one of the most widely used packaging materials in the world. Beyond its practical applications, it has also gained popularity for its stress-relieving properties, as many people enjoy the simple pleasure of popping the bubbles. The accidental reinvention of bubble wrap serves as an example of how innovation sometimes takes an unexpected path, proving that even failed ideas can lead to groundbreaking success.
The longest-lasting light bulb in the world, known as the Centennial Light, has been burning since 1901. Located in Fire Station number 6 in Livermore, California, this incredible bulb has been glowing for over a century, earning it a place in the Guinness World Records. The bulb was manufactured by the Shelby Electric Company and is a hand-blown carbon filament bulb designed in the late 19th century. It originally provided 30 to 60 watts of light, but over time its brightness has dimmed to about 4 watts. The bulb was first installed in a fire department hose cart in 1901, before being moved to different locations within the fire station. Despite occasional power outages and building renovations, it has remained operational, with only brief interruptions when it was relocated. Scientists and engineers have studied the bulb, but there is no definitive explanation for its extraordinary longevity. Some theories suggest that its low wattage, durable filament, and continuous operation, reducing the wear from on and off cycles, contribute to its incredible lifespan. The Centennial Light has gained worldwide attention, with visitors travelling to Livermore to see it in person. A dedicated webcam also streams live footage of the bulb for those who can't visit. This remarkable light bulb has become a symbol of durability and a curiosity in discussions about planned obsolescence, as modern light bulbs typically last only a few thousand hours before burning out. The Centennial Light stands as a testament to early engineering and continues to glow as one of the world's most fascinating technological anomalies.
In the Bahamas, there is a unique island made almost entirely of discarded conch shells, known as Conch Island or Shell Island. Located near the island of Anegada and several Bahamian settlements, this artificial landmass was created over decades by local fishermen who discarded empty conch shells after harvesting the meat inside. The conch, a large sea snail, is a staple of Bahamian cuisine and is used in popular dishes like conch salad, conch fritters, and cracked conch. As a result, the accumulation of shells grew so large that it formed an entire island. The island is a testament to the deep cultural and economic significance of conch in the Bahamas. For generations, fishermen have thrown their empty shells into the same area, slowly building up a landscape of pink and white shells. Over time, the shells compacted, creating a solid structure that continues to expand as more shells are added. The island serves as both a historical marker of Bahamian fishing traditions and an unusual tourist attraction. While Conch Island is a fascinating example of human-made landforms, it also raises environmental concerns. The queen conch population has been declining due to overfishing, leading to strict conservation efforts in the Bahamas and surrounding Caribbean nations. Regulations now limit conch harvesting to ensure the species does not become endangered. Despite these challenges, the island remains an extraordinary sight, showcasing how human activity, intended or unintended, can shape the landscape in unexpected ways.
The first webcam in history was invented to monitor a coffee pot. In 1991, a team of researchers at the University of Cambridge in England set up a small black and white camera to keep an eye on a coffee machine located in the Trojan room of their computer lab. The researchers, frustrated by frequent trips to the coffee pot only to find it empty, devised a simple but ingenious solution. They rigged up a camera that transmitted live images of the pot to their computer screens. This allowed them to check if there was coffee available before making the trip. The camera captured a low-resolution grayscale image of the coffee pot at a rate of about 3 frames per minute. Initially, the webcam was only accessible to the local network within the university, but in 1993, when the internet became more widely available, the live feed was connected to the World Wide Web. This made it the first publicly accessible webcam, drawing attention from curious viewers around the world who tuned in just to check on the coffee supply. The Trojan Room coffee pot became an internet sensation and remained online until 2001 when the camera was finally turned off. The original coffee pot itself was later auctioned off on eBay for over $4,000. This quirky invention was a precursor to the webcams we use today for video calls, security monitoring, and live streaming. What started as a simple office convenience ultimately played a role in shaping the way we interact with technology, proving that necessity, or in this case, caffeine cravings, can drive unexpected innovation.
John Walker, an English chemist, is credited with inventing the modern matchstick in 1826. While experimenting with chemicals in his laboratory in Stockton-on-Tees, Walker accidentally discovered that a mixture of potassium chlorate, antimony sulfide, and other compounds could ignite when scraped against a rough surface. Realizing the practical potential of his discovery, he began selling the first friction matches, which he called friction lights. These early matches consisted of wooden splints coated with the chemical mixture and were ignited by striking them against sandpaper. Despite his groundbreaking invention, Walker never patented his matches. He believed that such an important discovery should be freely available for the benefit of society, rather than monopolized for personal profit. As a result, others quickly capitalized on his idea. In 1829, a London chemist named Samuel Jones began manufacturing and selling a similar product under the name lucifers, which gained widespread popularity. Over time, improvements were made to the design, leading to safer and more efficient matches. Walker's decision not to patent his invention meant he never gained financial success from his work. However, his contribution to everyday life was invaluable, as matches became an essential tool for lighting fires, candles, and lamps. Today, he is remembered as a selfless innovator whose discovery revolutionized firemaking. His story serves as an example of an inventor prioritizing public good over personal gain, allowing matches to become a widely accessible and indispensable tool around the world.
Yes, there is a city named Earth in Texas, making it one of the most uniquely named places in the United States. Located in Lamb County in the northwestern part of the state, Earth is a small rural town with a population of a few hundred people. Originally, the community was known as Fairlawn, but when residents applied for a post office in the 1920s, they discovered that the name was already taken. After much discussion, they settled on the name Earth, making it the only town in the world with this exact name. The post office officially adopted the name in 1924. Earth, Texas, is primarily an agricultural community, with farming and cattle ranching playing a significant role in its local economy. The area is known for producing cotton, sorghum, and other crops typical of the Texas Panhandle region. Like many small towns in rural America, Earth has experienced population decline over the years due to urbanization and economic shifts. However, it remains a proud and tight-knit community. Despite its small size, Earth has gained some fame because of its unusual name. The town has been featured in trivia books, news stories, and travel blogs as one of the quirkiest place names in the US. Visitors sometimes stop by just to take a photo with the city's sign, which reads, "Welcome to Earth." The name itself evokes curiosity and amusement, making it a fun conversation starter for those who come across it.
The Eiffel Tower, one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, was almost temporarily moved to Canada in the 1960s. This surprising idea came about as part of Montreal's preparations for Expo 67, a World's Fair held in Canada to celebrate the country's centennial. Organisers of the event wanted a major attraction to draw international visitors, and they considered relocating the Eiffel Tower from Paris to Montreal for the duration of the exposition. The proposal, however, was never realised. Moving a 330-metre or 1,083-foot iron structure across the Atlantic Ocean presented massive logistical and engineering challenges. The process of dismantling, transporting and reassembling the tower would have been extremely costly and time-consuming. Additionally, the French authorities and Parisians were reluctant to part with their beloved landmark, even temporarily. As a result, the idea was abandoned, and Expo 67 proceeded without the Eiffel Tower. Despite this, Expo 67 was still a massive success, attracting millions of visitors and becoming one of the most celebrated World's Fairs in history. Although the Eiffel Tower remained in Paris, Montreal built several impressive structures for the event, including Habitat 67, a striking modernist housing complex that remains a famous architectural landmark today. The proposal to move the Eiffel Tower may seem far-fetched, but it highlights the ambition and creativity behind Expo 67's planning, as well as the enduring global fascination with the Parisian monument.
In the Netherlands, a country known for its innovative urban planning and environmental consciousness, some traffic lights have been specially designed for ducks. These unique traffic signals were introduced in cities with large populations of waterfowl to help ducks safely cross busy roads, particularly in areas near canals and ponds, which are common throughout the country. The idea behind duck-friendly traffic lights is to ensure that these birds, which frequently move between bodies of water, can cross roads without being harmed by passing vehicles. The lights function similarly to pedestrian crossings, but are activated when ducks approach. Some installations use motion sensors to detect the ducks, triggering a red light for drivers and allowing the ducks to waddle across safely. These duck crossings reflect the Netherlands' strong commitment to animal welfare and coexistence with nature. The country is well known for its cycling infrastructure, pedestrian-friendly urban design, and sustainable transport solutions. By implementing traffic lights for ducks, Dutch cities demonstrate a creative approach to protecting wildlife while maintaining smooth traffic flow. The initiative has been well received, highlighting the Dutch philosophy of designing urban spaces that accommodate both people and animals.
The oldest known door still in use is over 1,800 years old and is located in Rome, Italy. This ancient bronze door belongs to the Pantheon, one of the most well-preserved monuments of ancient Rome. The massive doors, standing about 7.5 meters tall, were originally installed around 115 AD during the reign of Emperor Hadrian. Made of solid bronze, they have survived nearly 2 millennia of history, including the fall of the Roman Empire, medieval transformations and modern restorations. Despite their age, these doors are still fully functional and serve as the main entrance to the Pantheon. Their durability can be attributed to the high-quality materials and expert craftsmanship of Roman engineers. Over the centuries, the doors have remained largely intact, though they have undergone some minor restorations. They continue to swing open to welcome visitors into the Pantheon, which now functions as a church and a historic site. The longevity of these doors is a testament to the engineering brilliance of ancient Rome. Unlike modern doors, which often deteriorate after a few decades, the Pantheon's bronze doors have endured for centuries without significant damage. They stand as a symbol of Rome's architectural legacy, attracting millions of tourists each year who marvel at their incredible history and craftsmanship.
Time travel into the future is not just a concept from science fiction, it is a real and measurable phenomenon, thanks to the effects of time dilation predicted by Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. According to special relativity, time is not an absolute constant but instead slows down for objects moving at speeds close to the speed of light. Similarly, general relativity states that time slows down in stronger gravitational fields. These effects have been experimentally confirmed and are most prominently observed in astronauts aboard the International Space Station, ISS, who experience time at a slightly slower rate compared to people on Earth. Astronauts on the ISS are traveling at approximately 28,000 kilometers per hour, 17,500 miles per hour, relative to Earth. Due to their high velocity, they experience a small but measurable amount of time dilation, meaning that time for them moves slightly slower than it does for those on the planet's surface. When they return to Earth, they have aged a fraction of a second less than people who remained on the ground. Though this difference is minuscule, only a few milliseconds over a typical 6-month mission, it demonstrates that time travel into the future is possible, albeit on a very small scale. This effect becomes significantly more pronounced at much higher speeds, such as those approaching the speed of light. If a spacecraft were to travel at near light speeds, its passengers would experience time much more slowly than people on Earth. Upon returning, they could find that years, decades, or even centuries had passed on Earth, while only a short time had passed for them. This idea, known as the twin paradox, has been supported by experiments with highly precise atomic clocks placed on fast-moving aircraft and satellites, which consistently show time moving slower for the clocks in motion. While time travel into the future via time dilation is scientifically proven, practical applications remain limited. Our current technology does not allow us to reach speeds anywhere near those needed for significant time dilation effects. However, as space travel advances and scientists explore concepts such as near-light speed travel or even wormholes, the potential for meaningful time travel into the future may become more than just a theoretical possibility.
Calcium is the most abundant mineral in the human body, playing a crucial role in numerous physiological processes. More than 99% of the body's calcium is stored in the bones and teeth, where it provides structural strength and rigidity. This calcium is primarily in the form of hydroxyapatite, a crystalline compound that gives bones and teeth their hardness. The remaining less than 1% of calcium is found in the blood, muscles and other tissues, where it is essential for nerve function, muscle contraction, blood clotting and enzyme activity. Bones act as a dynamic reservoir of calcium, constantly undergoing a process called bone remodeling. This involves bone resorption, where specialized cells called osteoclasts break down bone tissue to release calcium into the bloodstream when needed, and bone formation, where osteoblasts rebuild bone by depositing calcium. This balance is tightly regulated by hormones such as parathyroid hormone, calcitonin and vitamin D, ensuring that blood calcium levels remain stable while maintaining bone strength. Teeth, unlike bones, do not undergo continuous remodeling once they have fully formed. The enamel, which is the hardest substance in the human body, is composed mostly of calcium phosphate and is not replenished once it is lost. This is why maintaining proper calcium intake and good oral hygiene is critical for preventing tooth decay and preserving dental health. Dietary calcium is essential to maintaining bone density and preventing conditions such as osteoporosis, a disease characterized by weakened bones that are more prone to fractures. Good sources of calcium include dairy products, leafy green vegetables, nuts, and fortified foods. Without adequate calcium intake, the body may withdraw calcium from bones to support other critical functions, leading to decreased bone mass over time. Overall, calcium's primary role in bones and teeth underscores its importance in overall health. While only a small percentage of the body's calcium circulates in the bloodstream, this fraction is vital for numerous bodily functions, making it essential to maintain proper dietary intake throughout life.
The genetic similarity between humans and other species provides valuable insight into evolution and the shared ancestry of life on Earth. Humans share approximately 98 to 99% of their DNA with chimpanzees, making them our closest living relatives. This high degree of genetic overlap is a result of humans and chimpanzees evolving from a common ancestor around 6 to 7 million years ago. Despite this similarity, the small percentage of genetic differences accounts for the major distinctions in anatomy, brain function, and behavior between the two species. The genetic differences between humans and chimpanzees are concentrated in key areas related to brain development, immune function, and speech. For example, genes associated with brain growth such as FOXP2, which is linked to language ability, show significant differences between the two species. Additionally, regulatory DNA, non-coding sections of the genome that control how genes are expressed, plays a major role in differentiating humans from chimpanzees, even though the overall genetic sequences are nearly identical. Surprisingly, humans also share about 60% of their DNA with chickens, and roughly 50% with bananas. This is because all living organisms share a common ancestor if we look far enough back in evolutionary history. The genetic similarity between humans and chickens reflects the fundamental biological processes that are conserved across species. Many genes related to basic cellular functions, metabolism, and development are nearly identical, as they are essential for survival and have remained largely unchanged over millions of years. The degree of genetic similarity does not necessarily indicate how similar two organisms appear or behave. For instance, while humans share 98% of their DNA with chimpanzees, the difference in how those genes are regulated leads to vast disparities in intelligence, physical traits, and social behaviors. Likewise, sharing 60% of DNA with chickens does not mean humans are 60% chicken-like. It simply means that certain core biological functions, such as energy production and cell division, are governed by the same genetic instructions. These genetic comparisons highlight the deep connections among all living beings, reinforcing the idea that life evolved from a common origin. Advances in genetics continue to uncover how small genetic changes contribute to the vast diversity of life on Earth, shedding light on human evolution and our place in the natural world.
A single bolt of lightning is an incredibly powerful natural phenomenon, capable of releasing an enormous amount of energy in just a fraction of a second. On average, a lightning bolt carries about 1 billion joules or 1 gigajoule of energy. That's enough to toast approximately 100,000 slices of bread if all of that energy could be efficiently harnessed. This impressive comparison helps put into perspective the sheer power contained in a single flash of lightning. Lightning occurs when electrical charges build up in storm clouds due to the movement of ice particles and water droplets. When the charge difference between the cloud and the ground, or between different parts of the cloud, becomes too great, a rapid discharge of electricity occurs, resulting in a lightning strike. This sudden release of energy heats the surrounding air to temperatures as high as 30,000 Kelvin, about 53,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun, causing the characteristic bright flash and thunderous shockwave. Toasting a slice of bread requires roughly 1,000 joules of energy in a typical household toaster, meaning that the 1 billion joules in a lightning bolt could theoretically power 100,000 toasters at once. However, capturing and storing this energy is practically impossible due to the extremely brief and chaotic nature of a lightning strike. The energy is dispersed almost instantly in the form of heat, light and sound, making it difficult to convert into usable electricity. Scientists have explored various methods for harnessing lightning energy, but the unpredictability of strikes and the challenge of safely capturing such an intense burst of power make it unfeasible with current technology. Despite this, studying lightning remains important for improving weather forecasting, protecting infrastructure from electrical surges, and understanding the fundamental physics of atmospheric electricity. Ultimately, while a lightning bolt contains enough energy to toast an astonishing number of slices of bread, the reality is that its power is largely untapped and remains one of nature's most dramatic displays of raw energy.
The human scalp contains an average of 100,000 hair follicles, though this number can vary depending on factors such as genetics, hair color and age. Each follicle produces a single strand of hair, and together they form the thick covering of hair that protects the scalp from the sun and helps regulate body temperature. Hair density differs from person to person, with some individuals having as few as 80,000 hairs and others having up to 150,000. Lighter-haired individuals, particularly blondes, tend to have a higher number of hairs, while people with darker or red hair generally have fewer but thicker strands. Hair growth follows a 3-phase cycle: the anagen, or growth phase, the catagen, or transition phase, and the telogen, or resting phase. At any given time, about 85 to 90% of a person's hair is in the anagen phase, which can last anywhere from 2 to 7 years. This phase determines how long hair can grow before it naturally falls out and is replaced. The catagen phase lasts only a few weeks, during which hair growth slows, and then the telogen phase occurs, where old hairs are shed and new ones begin to grow in their place. On average, a person loses 50 to 100 hairs per day as part of this natural shedding process. This is considered completely normal and is usually not noticeable, as new hair continuously replaces the lost strands. However, factors such as stress, hormonal changes, poor nutrition and medical conditions can lead to excessive hair loss, known as alopecia. In some cases, hair thinning or baldness can occur when hair follicles shrink and stop producing new hair over time. Hair thickness and texture also depend on genetics and ethnicity. People with straight hair often have round hair shafts, while those with curly or wavy hair have more oval or twisted shafts. The shape of the follicle influences how hair grows, affecting its overall appearance. Additionally, aging causes gradual hair thinning, as hair follicles produce finer and weaker strands over time. While 100,000 hairs may seem like a lot, each strand is incredibly delicate and requires proper care to maintain its health. Regular washing, conditioning, and a balanced diet rich in proteins and vitamins, especially biotin, vitamin D, and iron, can help keep hair strong and resilient. Despite daily shedding and the effects of aging, the human scalp remains an efficient system for producing and maintaining hair throughout most of a person's life.
If you could theoretically drill a hole straight through the center of the Earth and jump in, it would take approximately 42 minutes to reach the other side, assuming no air resistance and a perfectly symmetrical planet. This idea is based on the physics of simple harmonic motion, where gravity would continuously accelerate you toward the center and then decelerate you as you move toward the opposite surface. As you fall, gravity would pull you faster and faster until you reach the center of the Earth, where you would be traveling at your maximum velocity, about 28,000 kilometers per hour, or 17,400 miles per hour. At this point, gravity would begin pulling you back in the opposite direction, causing you to slow down as you approach the other side. Without resistance, you would emerge at the opposite surface with just enough speed to reach the top, only to fall back down again in an endless oscillation, similar to a pendulum. However, in reality, this scenario is not possible due to several major obstacles. First, Earth's core is extremely hot, reaching temperatures around 5,200 degrees Celsius or 9,400 degrees Fahrenheit, which would make survival impossible. Second, the enormous pressure inside the Earth, especially in the inner core, would collapse any tunnel almost instantly. Lastly, air resistance, if not removed, would slow you down, causing you to lose energy until you eventually came to rest at the center of the Earth instead of reaching the other side. If we assume a more practical version of this scenario, where the tunnel is lined to withstand heat and pressure and all the air is removed to eliminate drag, then the 42-minute journey remains a valid theoretical calculation. This concept is sometimes referred to as the gravity train and has been proposed as a thought experiment for high-speed underground transportation. In fact, a similar principle is used in modern vacuum tube transport systems, like the proposed Hyperloop, where low air resistance allows for near frictionless travel. While drilling a hole through the Earth is far beyond our technological capabilities, the physics behind this calculation is an interesting demonstration of how gravity and motion interact on a planetary scale. It also highlights the fascinating, yet extreme possibilities of using Earth's gravity for rapid transit, if only we could overcome the many real-world limitations.
A year on Earth is not exactly 365 days. It is actually about 365.2422 days long. This extra 0.2422 days, approximately 5 hours, 48 minutes and 56 seconds, comes from the fact that Earth does not complete its orbit around the Sun in a whole number of days. Instead, it takes a little over 365 days for Earth to make one full revolution, which is why our calendar system requires adjustments to stay in sync with the seasons. To account for this fractional day, we use leap years. Every 4 years, an extra day is added to the calendar in February, making that year 366 days long instead of 365. This helps compensate for the extra 0.2422 days per year. However, because adding a full day every 4 years slightly overcorrects the difference, since 0.25 days per year is slightly more than 0.2422, additional rules are needed to fine-tune the calendar. The Gregorian calendar, which most of the world follows today, refines this system by skipping leap years in certain cases. Specifically, a year is a leap year if it is divisible by 4, but not if it is divisible by 100, unless it is also divisible by 400. For example, the years 1700, 1800 and 1900 were not leap years, but 2000 was. This rule ensures that the calendar stays aligned with Earth's orbit over long periods, preventing a gradual shift in the timing of seasons. Without this correction, our calendar would slowly drift out of sync with the solar year. Over centuries, summer would eventually occur in what we now call winter, and vice versa. Ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians and Romans, struggled with this problem before refining their calendars with leap years to maintain accuracy. Even with this system, minor variations in Earth's rotation and orbit still cause small discrepancies over long timescales. Scientists use atomic clocks and astronomical observations to make periodic adjustments, such as leap seconds, to keep our timekeeping as precise as possible. While we commonly think of a year as exactly 365 days, the reality is that Earth's orbit is slightly more complex, requiring these small but crucial corrections to keep our calendars aligned with the natural world.
A single grain of sand, though incredibly small, contains an astonishing number of atoms, roughly 100 quintillion. That's 10 to the power of 20, or 100 million atoms. This vast number is due to the minuscule size of atoms, which are the fundamental building blocks of all matter. Even the tiniest objects we can see with the naked eye are made up of an unfathomably large number of these microscopic particles. Most grains of sand are composed primarily of silicon dioxide, commonly known as quartz. This mineral consists of silicon and oxygen atoms bonded together in a repeating crystalline structure. Since oxygen and silicon are relatively small atoms, a typical grain of sand, measuring roughly 0.5 millimeter in diameter, can hold an enormous number of them. The exact number of atoms in a grain of sand depends on its size, composition and density, but for quartz, the estimate of 100 quintillion atoms provides a reasonable approximation. To put this into perspective, the number of atoms in a grain of sand is vastly greater than the number of stars in our Milky Way galaxy, which is estimated to be around 100 to 400 billion. In fact, if you compared the number of atoms in a handful of sand to the number of stars in the observable universe, which is estimated at around 200 billion trillion, the two figures would actually be in the same ballpark, showing how even the smallest objects at an atomic scale hold unimaginable complexity. Atoms themselves are composed of subatomic particles, protons and neutrons in the nucleus, with electrons orbiting around them. Despite being the fundamental units of matter, atoms are mostly empty space. If the nucleus of an atom were the size of a marble, the electrons would orbit at distances comparable to a football stadium. This means that the massive number of atoms in a grain of sand is made up of an incredible amount of empty space at the subatomic level. While we typically think of sand grains as tiny, their atomic makeup highlights just how intricate and densely packed matter is at the smallest scales. This mind-boggling number of atoms in a single grain is a testament to the vast complexity of the physical world, where even the most mundane objects are composed of an incredible microscopic universe of particles.
The human brain is incredibly efficient at processing visual information, capable of recognizing and interpreting an image in as little as 13 milliseconds. This rapid processing speed was discovered in a study conducted by MIT neuroscientists, who found that people could correctly identify images flashed on a screen for just 13 milliseconds, far faster than previously thought. This finding suggests that the brain can extract meaningful information almost instantaneously, supporting our ability to navigate the world quickly and efficiently. This remarkable speed is due to the brain's visual processing system, which is optimized for detecting patterns, motion, and familiar objects. When light enters the eye, it is captured by the retina, where specialized cells called photoreceptors convert it into electrical signals. These signals are sent to the visual cortex at the back of the brain via the optic nerve, where they are processed and interpreted. The brain does not analyze an image all at once, but instead breaks it down into different features, such as shape, color, and movement, before rapidly reconstructing it into a meaningful perception. The ability to process images so quickly is crucial for survival. In evolutionary terms, early humans relied on rapid visual recognition to detect predators, find food, and identify threats or opportunities in their environment. Even today, our brains prioritize processing visual stimuli related to faces, danger, and movement faster than other types of information. This speed is also what allows us to recognize familiar faces, read words at a glance, and react to fast-moving objects almost instantly. Interestingly, despite this speed, the brain does not simply take a snapshot of an image. Instead, it continuously predicts and fills in missing information based on past experiences and expectations. This is why we can recognize partially obscured objects or understand blurred images. Our brain reconstructs the missing details in real time. This predictive ability also plays a role in optical illusions, where the brain's rapid processing sometimes leads to misinterpretations. The discovery that the brain can process an image in just 13 milliseconds highlights the astonishing efficiency of our nervous system. It also has implications for technology, such as artificial intelligence and machine vision, as scientists aim to develop computers that can match the human brain's ability to recognize and process images in an instant. While computers are improving in image recognition, the human brain remains unmatched in its ability to process visual information rapidly and accurately with minimal effort.
The concept of zero as a number is a relatively recent development in human history, emerging about 1,500 years ago. While ancient civilizations had ways to indicate the absence of a value, such as leaving a space or using a placeholder symbol, the idea of zero as both a numeral and a mathematical concept was a major breakthrough that transformed mathematics and science. The origins of zero can be traced back to ancient India in the 5th to 7th centuries CE, where scholars such as Brahmagupta developed rules for using zero in calculations. Brahmagupta, an Indian mathematician and astronomer, was the first to write down rules for arithmetic involving zero, including operations like addition and subtraction. Before this, civilizations such as the Babylonians and Mayans used placeholders for zero in their numerical systems, but they did not treat it as a number in its own right. The introduction of zero was revolutionary because it allowed for more advanced mathematical operations, including algebra and calculus. It also made calculations easier, particularly in positional number systems like the decimal system, where zero serves as a crucial placeholder. Without zero, performing arithmetic with large numbers would be far more cumbersome, as seen in ancient Roman numerals, which lacked a true zero. Zero gradually spread from India to the Islamic world, where scholars such as Al-Khwarizmi and Al-Samawal helped refine and popularize its use. By the 12th century, zero was introduced to Europe through translations of Arabic mathematical texts. The Italian mathematician Fibonacci, known for the Fibonacci sequence, played a key role in promoting the Hindu-Arabic numeral system, including zero, which eventually replaced the cumbersome Roman numeral system. Beyond mathematics, the concept of zero had profound implications in philosophy and science. It influenced the development of calculus, pioneered by Isaac Newton and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, and played a key role in the rise of modern computing, where binary code, using zeros and ones, serves as the foundation for digital technology. Despite its now universal acceptance, zero was initially met with resistance. Many ancient cultures struggled with the idea of nothingness as a number, as numbers were traditionally seen as representing tangible quantities. Today, however, zero is fundamental to almost every branch of mathematics, physics, engineering and computer science, proving that what was once a radical concept has become an essential part of modern life. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed these incredible facts. If you found them fascinating, there's so much more to discover. Stay tuned for our next video, where we uncover even more mind-blowing facts about the world around you. You won't believe what's next.